You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1989 1989 Chapter 441, Lao Bai, Long Time No See. 2. Outside the city, a large number of experts were active. At the same time, several white faces around the Great Xia mansion received a voice transmission from Su Yu. Good start, there's a mission. On Nan Yuan's side, Bai Feng's cousin, Bai Junsheng, has sent out a request for help, hoping that the Heaven Hunting Pavilion can send someone to protect him. Xianjiu, you accepted the mission. Xianjiu, you've already sent out the Heaven Hunting talent list. The few white-masked men were extremely surprised. F***ck, aren't you too fast? This is called luck. The place where I appeared was not far from Bai Junsheng, and I gave him a sublist. This fellow said that he is Bai Feng's cousin. I've checked Bai Feng's information, and Bai Feng is very important. He is Su Yu's teacher and also a genius of the multi-divine literature department. He has also developed the innate blood essence and the splitting method of divine literature battle techniques. Anyone who is related to Bai Feng can send out some sublists. At this point, Su Yu continued, if any of you are close to the southern Yuan, protect them. I will follow them in secret. I feel that this time around, we will be able to establish our prestige and reputation as soon as we arrive. Xianjiu, isn't it too risky? This is only the first day and we have just arrived. We are not familiar with this place. We are not too sure about the number of human experts and the experts of the Great Xia Mansion. We are not too sure about who is who. If we accept a mission rashly, Su Yu quickly said, we don't know, and the other party won't believe that we dare to accept a mission as soon as we arrive. Then, what price did Bai Junsheng pay? He introduced Bai Feng to us and let Bai Feng hold the ranking board. He could even send the ranking board to Hong Tan without paying. However, this is a great opportunity for us to expand the market of the Great Xia Mansion. Bai Feng and Hong Tan are both key figures in this vortex. Once we can establish a relationship with them, our Heaven Hunting Pavilion will have an absolute advantage. The moment these words were said, the hearts of the three white-masked men froze. What a fast speed! What high efficiency! He was able to establish a relationship with the duo from the multi-god literature faculty the moment he arrived. It had to be said that Bai Junsheng's condition was stronger than some resources. It was in line with their interests and their needs. To oversee the Great Xia Mansion, he naturally had to establish a relationship with some of the experts, geniuses, and high-status fellows. Otherwise, how could he allow the Heaven Hunting Pavilion's business to expand? I can accept this mission, but I'm too far away from the southern origin. It'll take at least 2 days to arrive. Me too. I'm near the southern origin, in the area of the Great Xia Mansion's Tianshui city. I can accept this mission. Xianjiu, what do you think? The one who gave the reply was Huangjiu. Su Yu quickly replied, sure, you and I will work together to protect him. I'm also worried that I will be the only one who will be lured away from the mountain. I'll pull apart the distance first. You be careful. It seems that there are people from the Dragon Martial Guards of the Great Xia Prefecture following us. Until the Dragon Martial Guards can hold on, let's not interfere. All right. The two of them quickly finished the handover. Su Yu gave himself a task. Of course, he had a file to check. He took out a sublist and sent a letter to Su Yu. If the law enforcers found out about it, there would also be a record to check. Moreover, Su Yu seriously suspected that all the channels that were opened now might be monitored. This was because these were not directly connected through the mask, but through the Heaven Hunting Scroll. This thing was not very safe. His connection with Huangjiu and the others might be watched by the law enforcers, or even higher-ups. If it was Su Yu, he would definitely be in charge of the movements below. After arranging this, Su Yu quickly began to contact the mystic armor through the mask. This person ran away, which was out of Su Yu's expectations. Old Zhu really couldn't do it, and he actually ran away. Elder, are you still there? Elder, are you okay? Su Yu asked for a while, and after a while, Xian Jia finally replied, what's the matter? Elder, where are you now? I'm going to look for you. Which mansion are you in charge of? Tang Mansion. The exact location? I don't know. Xian Jia snorted in his heart. If you knew, you would go and inform him, right? I've seen through you. In charge of the Tang Mansion. Su Yu muttered in his heart. Speaking of the Tang Mansion. There was still a fake father-in-law at the 9th level of the Sun and Moon. It was terrifying. However, his identity had been exposed. Would that elder Cheng come looking for him again? Cui Lang was his grandson-in-law. Also, Cheng Yimo had given him a token of his last time. Su Yu had no use for it. He said that he could ask the Tang Mansion for help, but Su Yu had no chance to use it. In fact, he did not like to ask for help and owed a favor. Besides, Cheng Yimo had given Cui Lang, not Su Yu. Xian Jia was in charge of Tang Mansion, which was quite far from Xia Mansion. Unfortunately, it wasn't Daming Mansion. Who was in charge of Daming Mansion? It was said that an elder had died. Could it be that elder? Or one of the other 8 white-masked men who had died? Forget it, forget it. Elder, I have a good relationship with Mr. Cheng Yimo, the top master of the Tang Mansion. If you are in trouble, you can ask me for help. I will help you at any time and ask Elder Cheng to stand up for you. As long as it's not beheading. Xian Jia sent a message, Xian Jiu, we know each other well. Don't play this game with me. If I really die, do you think you will have a good ending? Of course, you can also give up this identity. Su Yu was embarrassed. What he said, I'm not that kind of person. However, Xian Jia did not seem to have caused him any trouble at the moment. Of course, he could not rule out the possibility that the other party was playing a long game. Su Yu was not at ease with these people. In other words, the number of people who could make him truly at ease did not exceed 1 palm. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1990. 1990 Chapter 441, Lao Bai, Long Time No See. 3. This was how it was these days. If one trusted others too easily, it was easy to die. Su Yu rode on the earth dragon beast, and his speed wasn't fast. Along the way, he also silently observed. 3 people from the dragon martial guards came. 1 was Shan Hai, and 2 were Ling Yun. It could be said that they looked up to him and gave him secret guards, the kind that were free of charge. From the looks of it, the great Xia Mansion had increased their protection of Bai Feng and the others. Huang Jiu and Su Yu did not know their exact strength, but they were definitely not weak. They were definitely at the 7th level of the mountain and sea realm and above, but they should not have reached the sun and moon realm yet. Their strength was still passable. With their protection, unless the other party came to the sun and moon realm. If they came to the sun and moon realm, then they would need to make a move themselves. Of course, the first stage of the sun and moon was still acceptable, and the second and third stages were also acceptable. Now that Su Yu had opened the 3rd stage of the sun and moon, he could kill the other party. However, if the other party came to the middle stage or later stage of the sun and moon, it would be a big problem. For the sake of a single Bai Junsheng, there was no need to go so far, right? Don't look at the later stage of the sun and moon. It was quite common in the heavenly battlefield, but don't forget that it was the participation of all the clans. Under normal circumstances, the clan would only be able to deal with the later stage of the sun and moon. Moreover, after a few times, each clan had lost quite a few late stages of the sun and moon realm at Su Yu's hands. How could there be so many late stages of the sun and moon realm running around casually? Suyu continued forward, and the sky was already dark. In the wilderness, Suyu was not in a hurry to travel. He got off the earth dragon beast and started to prepare some food and barbecue for himself. The dragon martial guards who were following him secretly cursed him. The Bai family was also a warrior aristocratic family. Why were they like this? Why couldn't they travel at night? If they didn't eat for a day, would they starve to death? Suyu was barbecuing below, and the experts were all prepared. They almost cursed Suyu to death. If they met this second generation of the Bai family again, they would give him a good beating. On the outside, a black shadow flashed past. It was Huang Jiu. With the help of the mask, Huang Jiu also disappeared into the air, hiding his tracks. The dragon martial guards did not notice him at all. In the dark, Huang Jiu also searched around. He wanted to find Xianzhou's location, but he did not find anything. He could not help but sigh in his heart. Xianzhou was able to sit on the 24th chair, so his ability was very strong. Moreover, he was also bold. As expected of an expert stationed in the ancient city. This fellow had survived several major changes in the ancient city of Xinghong. He was still alive. It was said that Xianzhou came to the human realm this time, and it was specially approved by the minister. It seemed that he had some real skills. Suyu didn't care about these things. His mission this time wasn't to kill many people. He didn't count on a single Bai Junxing to draw out many experts and important figures. He opened a business for the heaven hunting pavilion and a business for Xianzhou. At the same time, he killed a group of fellows to vent his anger. Thinking back to that time, he was hunted down by people all the way. Now, he wasn't afraid anymore. He was considering how he could appear in the open if Huang Jiu was unable to solve the problem. Clone technique. If it was a clone technique, it would be easy for experts to see through it. Shadow clone. Or flesh regeneration technique. Suyu was thinking in his heart. Perhaps, he had to create a fake clone. At the critical moment, he could make do with it. Coincidentally, there was a little hairy ball in his head. He could make a puppet. It would be fine to let the little hairy ball hold it for a while. After making up his mind, Suyu secretly drew some blood and started to create a fake clone. When he turned around, the other party really attacked. Even Huang Jiu was unable to deal with it. Then, he would have to let the little hairy ball pretend to be Bai Junxing. Then, he would go out and kill those guys. Just as Suyu was preparing, the actions of the barbecue did not change. However, his heart moved slightly. He pretended to know nothing and continued to barbecue. In the next moment, in the darkness, a ray of light flashed and shot toward Suyu from afar. It was a poisoned long arrow. In the darkness, the mountain and sea of the dragon martial guards quickly made their move. They grabbed the long arrow and without saying a word, they flew off into the distance. Everything was going on silently. The two Lingyun realm dragon martial guards quickly looked around. Luring the tiger away from the mountain was a common trick. Be careful that if the leader left, someone would immediately come to assassinate Bai Junxing. Sure enough, just as the mountain and sea leader left, a faint light flashed in front of the two Ling Yun's eyes. Buzz! The sword radiance flashed, and in an instant, the two Ling Yun and the other Ling Yun engaged in a fierce battle. In the darkness, the voices of these people were very soft. As for Suyu, he seemed to have noticed something and suddenly shouted, "Who is it? I have someone protecting me. Do you want to die?" The few people who were fighting cursed in their hearts. "Protect my ass." In the next moment, the mountain sea dragon martial guard returned from afar and quickly fought with the other party. With a rumbling sound, he lost control of his voice. This time, Suyu was awakened. Of course, he was just pretending. Suyu shouted, "You want to die? After saying this, he got onto the earth dragon beast and quickly left. The mountain sea dragon martial guard who was entangled couldn't help but shout, "Don't leave, stay where you are." Idiot! Why did he run? Protecting such people was the most troublesome thing. They were afraid that they would run away. If they listened obediently, such people would be easy to protect. Suyu ignored them and continued to run away. He harumphed, "You want to lie to me? I don't even know you. If you want to trick me, no way. I am the Dragon Martial Guards." This mountain and sea was furious. "Idiot, I am the Dragon Martial Guards." In the next moment, he said angrily, "Do you want to die? Do you really think that you cannot do anything to the Myriad Clan sect? Hee hee." In the darkness, someone sneered, "The Great Xia Manor? Do you still think it is the Great Xia Manor from before? Manor head Xia went to the heavens battlefield, and Lord Xia has yet to return. The Great Xia Manor is left with a bunch of trash." The Dragon Martial Guard was furious. With a rumble, his blade broke through the darkness and exploded with light. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1991. 1991 Chapter 441, Lao Bai, Long Time No See. Show subscribe, 4. In the darkness, a group of people fought rapidly, turning the darkness into daylight. As for Suyu, he rode on the earth dragon beast and ran quickly. The commander of the mountain and sea prefecture was also helpless. Run, it was indeed a little troublesome now. With the two mountains and seas taking action, he and the two Ling Yun were entangled by someone. "Who hired you?" The mountain and sea commander shouted, "Bai Junsheng has nothing to do with Bai Feng. He's just an ordinary genius from the Great Ming Mansion. However, he has a close relationship with the Zhu family of the Great Ming Mansion. Do you want to lure the Great Ming King to kill you?" Hee hee. In the darkness, cold laughter continued. At this moment, a dark light flashed. With a PFFT, a head fell from the sky. Huang Jiu casually grabbed the headless body, put it into his storage ring, and quickly disappeared, catching up with Suyu. A bunch of boring guys. They were pretending to be mysterious. When the Heaven Hunting Pavilion was mysterious, they were much more mysterious than them. Why did they pretend to be mysterious? Just because they had an invisibility-type divine text, they pretended to be mysterious. In the heavenly battlefield, there were many people like this. On the Dragon Martial Guard side, the group of warriors couldn't do anything to the opponent, so he didn't have any scruples. The few people who were fighting were slightly stunned. In the next moment, the Dragon Martial Guards knew who the other party was, and they shouted, "Heaven Hunting Pavilion? Heaven Hunting Pavilion? You're welcome. Heaven Hunting Pavilion has completed its mission, and there is no deception between the old and the young. Under the heavens, heaven hunting will always exist. Yellow Division, Huang Jiu." Hee hee hee. Huang Jiu's laughter rang out, and he disappeared. He had the same idea as Suyu, to make an advertisement. Up ahead, Suyu cursed in his heart. "I'm the boss here, and you're actually advertising yourself? Are you trying to rebel?" It had to be Xian Jiu's subordinate, Huang Jiu. Very quickly, Suyu also shouted, "Whether it's the Dragon Martial Guards or the Myriad Clan cult, stay away from me. I don't believe you. I've hired people from the Heaven Hunting Pavilion to protect me, and no one else is allowed to come near me." The Dragon Martial Guard expert who was still fighting cursed inwardly. No wonder he was so arrogant. He had formed a relationship with the Heaven Hunting Pavilion. Idiot. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion was very strong. Although the Heaven Hunting Pavilion was strong, it was still a grandson in the Great Xia Manor. It was just that you, Bai Junsheng, were not worth the Great Xia Manor paying too much for you. This time, a mountain and sea came to protect you. It could be considered as letting you down. As for the two mountain and sea disciples of the myriad clan sect, they quickly prepared to flee. The heaven hunting pavilion had arrived. This group of people walked the heavenly battlefield, and their strength wasn't weak. The myriad clan sect had also heard that the heaven hunting pavilion's people weren't weak, especially the white-faced and faceless elders. However, they appeared weak. There was no other reason. The people the heaven hunting pavilion dealt with weren't easy to deal with. They were either geniuses or experts. Those geniuses often thought of ways to lure them over and kill them. To be able to survive and become white masks, they had to have some real ability. The moment Wuxia made his move, he killed a mountain and sea realm expert. The mountain and sea realm was one of the higher-ups in the religion of 10,000 races. Very quickly, the remaining two mountain and sea realm experts erupted, repelling the dragon martial guards and fleeing. The mountain and sea realm experts were also experts. Since the mission couldn't be completed, then they could run. The mountain and sea realm expert who was hiding in the dark was at the middle stage of the mountain and sea realm. They had all died in an instant. Clearly, the heaven hunting pavilion members were very strong. They were only at the early stage. Suyu, who was running in front, was a bit bored. There were only a few mountain and sea realm experts, and the strongest was only at the 4th level of the mountain and sea realm, which Wuxia had killed. Was there no sun and moon? He had wandered around the heavens battlefield, and his horizons were really high. Without the sun and moon, he felt that he didn't have much motivation. In fact, Suyu had almost forgotten that in the human realm, in the religion of 10,000 races, one mountain and sea was a high-ranking official. If it wasn't an expert who was in charge of a region, then it would be an expert at the deputy cult master level. In some small sects, only mountain and sea was the cult master. The three mountains and seas were really not weak. He had only seen many battles between experts, so he subconsciously felt that the three mountains and seas looked down on him too much. In fact, the three mountains and seas really looked up to him. There weren't many powerful experts in the mountains and seas. There might be many human realm experts, but they weren't everywhere. The Great Xia Institute of Civilization had many mountains and seas, but there were only a few in the later stages. He felt that Wuxia and the others were weak, but Wuxia and the other white-masked experts were the elites of the white-masked experts. They had been invincible in the heavenly battlefield for many years, so how could they be weak? The heaven-hunting pavilion had at least 8 invincible existences. As for the white-masked men, they were considered the middle and upper echelons. It was just that Suyu and the white-masked men had come too easily, so he hadn't realized this. As Suyu moved forward, Wuxia didn't appear, but he had killed many people in the dark. Suyu knew all this. Very quickly, this news spread through the mouths of some survivors. The 10,000 clan sect received the news very quickly. Bai Junsheng had hired a white-masked escort, Wuxia of the Yellow Tribe. The person who had appeared in the southern Yuan, who could rival the sun and the moon, was Xianjiu of the Black Tribe. The two might have some connection. There were obviously some white-masked people from the heaven-hunting pavilion in the Great Xia Mansion. At this moment, Bai Feng, who had just left the city, also received the news. Wuxia. Heaven-hunting pavilion. Bai Feng was stunned for a moment. No wonder this kid is so arrogant. He must have found a backer. But this idiot, where did he get the money to hire White Mask to protect him? Also, this heaven-hunting pavilion is so bold. I just received the news that a large number of people from the heaven-hunting pavilion have entered the human realm. All the major manors are surrounding them. They actually dare to accept the mission now. Aren't they afraid of being surrounded and killed by the Great Xia Mansion? The heaven-hunting pavilion was not a good person. Bai Junsheng was not at ease with the other party being involved. At this moment, he was not the only one going out. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1992. 1992 Chapter 441 Lao Bai, Long Time No See. Asks for a subscription, 5. Of course, he didn't call Hong Tan. It was too dangerous for Hong Tan to go out now. With him was Wu Yuehua, a peak expert of the 9th level of the mountain and sea realm. Wu Yuehua had long since reached the 8th level of the mountain and sea realm, and had recently broken through to the 9th level. At this moment, the news was dazzling. He frowned slightly and said, "Heaven Hunting Pavilion. These guys actually entered the human realm in large numbers. This is a sign of chaotic times. Heaven Hunting Pavilion doesn't wake up early without benefits. It's not a chaotic world. If they don't go, they'll be in chaos if they go. These guys are afraid that the world won't be in chaos. They're the source of the chaotic world, or in other words, the creator of the chaotic world." Of course, it was an exaggeration to say that. However, it was true that the Heaven Hunting Pavilion people liked to add fuel to the fire. In any case, there weren't many good things. Wu Yuehua quickly said, "Go and pick up your cousin. If that Huang Jiao is still around, let's see if we can kill him. This is also a great merit. Killing Bai Mian was also a great merit." Bai Feng nodded and said helplessly, "This fellow is really stupid. He's looking for trouble for me. At this juncture, sigh, this time, I'll take care of him properly. Cut the crap. It's good that you're stronger so that you don't have to ask for help every time. Look at your disciple. Although he won't live for long, the myriad clans in the heavens will never forget him. He blooms with brilliance and radiates across the myriad worlds." Clearly, Wu Yuehua had a very high evaluation of Su Yu. It was the same for the Wu family. The old lady of the Wu family had said before in the heavenly battlefield that only such a person was worthy of her Wu family. She did not seek eternity, but only wanted to shine brightly and radiate light across the heavens. Su Yu had clearly done it. The Wu family had a very high evaluation of such a peerless monster. Just like Lu Wenyan in the past. Bai Feng said helplessly, "Martial ant, don't hit me like that. It's not enough for my master to hit me. You hit him as well." Wu Yuehua said calmly, "That's the truth. My Wu Qi has killed in all directions on the battlefield of the heavens." Even Huang Teng wasn't convinced. "When I mentioned Su Yu, I said that I would betroth her to Su Yu, but she didn't refute me. Clearly, she also took a liking to Su Yu." "What the F***ck?" Bai Feng said helplessly, this Wu Qi is from our generation. Aren't you just fooling around? Didn't Wulan follow Su Yu to Daming Manor? What the F***ck? Wu Qi may be difficult to deal with, may be cold, and may be something or something, but she's still one of the few female powerhouses in our generation. A female prodigy, and you're just going to pull her over to Su Yu? Seriously. Also, did you know that your niece ran away with Su Yu?" Wu Yuehua said nonchalantly, "A person like Su Yu is worthy of our Wu family's women. It's not a big deal for Wu Qi and Wu Lan to be betrothed to him. Forget it." Bai Feng was powerless. He said gloomily, "It's just your wishful thinking, but Su Yu might not have such thoughts. That kid, he told me that women aren't good at cultivation. This is a true talent." Wu Yuehua nodded and praised. This was a true cultivator. Very good. No wonder he could be so outstanding. F***ck. Bai Feng complained in his heart. As long as one's strength and talent were abnormal, any kind of character would be good in their eyes. If one was a playboy, it would be called elegant and charming. If one was straight, it would be called firm-willed. If one was ugly, it would be called honest and honest. If one was short, it would be called a condensed essence. Forget it. Forget it. Bai Feng did not bother with this person anymore. The women of the Wu family were very scary. It was meaningless to be serious with women. Forget it. Later on, I will vent my anger on my cousin. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have gone to look for Wu Yuehua. If I didn't look for Wu Yuehua, I wouldn't have been beaten up by her disdain. Puchi. A sharp sound of a blade piercing through rang out. With a boom, a corpse fell to the ground. Huang Jio's figure flashed as he sneered. He transmitted his voice through the mask. The human race is nothing more than this. The Myriad Clan sect is a bunch of idiots. I've killed quite a few mountains and seas, and they're still coming one after another. They don't know whether they're dead or alive. Such trash wouldn't last more than a few days in the grand celestial battlefield. Huang Jio had seen too many geniuses and experts, and now that he was fighting with some of the Myriad Clan sect's mountains and seas, he felt very bored. Weak. He simply couldn't feel the strength of the strong clans. The human race was just like that. The strong were very strong, and the weak were very weak. They weren't like the large clans like the gods and devils, where their strength was more balanced. The weak of the human race were even weaker than the small clans. The experts of the human race weren't even comparable to the gods and devils. This clan was extremely polarized. The Myriad Clan had elites, but the elites would not come looking for Bai Junsheng. It was a waste and only the weaker ones came. In the end, they were easily dealt with by Huang Jio. Just as Huang Jio was thinking, a huge cauldron descended from the sky. Boom! Huang Jio stabbed out with his sword. In the next moment, the huge cauldron shattered and countless poisons covered it. With a poochie sound, the flesh rotted. Huang Jio, who had been arrogant a moment ago, suddenly fled, and he cursed under his breath. How unlucky! Since he had met a poison master, he wouldn't brag anymore. Just as he finished his words, he suffered a huge loss. Humph! At least you ran fast. At this moment, Wu Yuehua walked out from the sky. Harumphing coldly, she put away the cauldron and poisoned him to death. On the other hand, Su Yu was so bored that he felt like crying. I wanted to kill someone, but in the end, you guys were really good. Huang Jio was all taken care of. Huang Jio was taken care of by someone, but it was Wu Yuehua who came. What was the point of me beating him up? Forget it, forget it. A bunch of small fries, let them off this time. And at this moment, Su Yu felt the movement behind his butt. Someone wanted to kick him. He subconsciously wanted to counterattack. In the next moment, Su Yu held back. With a bang, Su Yu pretended to fly and shouted in pain. Behind him, Bai Feng bared his teeth and quickly retracted his leg that was in extreme pain. He cursed in his heart. As he cursed, he was also surprised and confused. What the hell? This cousin of mine has just entered the air not long ago. A half-step Ling Yun, kicked him and it actually hurt my leg. What's going on? At this moment, Su Yu remained calm and smiled to himself. He pulled out a large steel plate from his butt and turned to look at Bai Feng. Why did you kick me? Look, the Xian grade shield was flattened by you. You were too ruthless. Bai Feng blinked. Was there a shield just now? I didn't really feel it. His cousin was also a weapon forging master, so it wasn't surprising that he had a Xian weapon. However, when I kicked him, I didn't feel anything. Even though he still had some doubts, Bai Feng could not care less about these things. He said angrily, "Who told you to come? I told you to scram the last time, didn't you hear me? Grandfather is injured, so I came to tell you about the situation. Second uncle also said that he wanted to talk to you for a while. I brought a message. Speak. We'll talk when we reach the Great Xia Manor." You. Bai Feng was furious. Su Yu was not afraid of boiling water and said, "We won't talk until we reach the Great Xia Manor." Wu Yuehua was too lazy to waste time and said, "Let's go back quickly. If we let him go now, will you send him back? Let's go to the Great Xia Mansion first." Bai Feng was helpless. It made sense. If they chased him away now, no one would be able to protect his cousin. The person from the heaven hunting pavilion had just been scared away. At this moment, Huang Jiu, who had been scared away, observed from afar and smiled. He did not care that Bai Feng was here. Forget it. Since that was the case, his mission was considered to have been completed. Not bad. It was a good start. The first mission was completed very smoothly. Humans were not to be underestimated. This woman was very domineering and very strong. Not to mention her strength, that poison cauldron had almost poisoned him to death. He still had to be careful. Xianjiu, the mission has been completed. I'll take my leave first. Take on more missions. Our team completed a mission the moment we arrived. From the looks of it, Xianjiu, the target you chose is not bad. Xianjiu didn't reply, and he didn't mind either. Xianjiu might be up to something, or he might be lurking in the dark. Who cares? Meanwhile, Suyu had already made contact with Bai Feng. He was in a pretty good mood. As for the shock caused by the hidden mask, he couldn't be bothered with it. It wasn't a big deal. It was probably a message from Huang Jiu. I'm going to the Great Xia Manor. Suyu thought to himself. Looking at Bai Feng again, no matter how he looked at it, it looked good. Lao Bai, long time no see. It's really been a long time. It's already been 4 months. However, this teacher of his, TSK, soaring 9 levels. Sigh, it's too pitiful, too pitiful. This is too weak. Can I crush him to death with a single finger now? This won't do. I gave you so much heaven origin chi, why haven't you advanced to Lingyun yet? Suyu thought to himself, are you slacking off? Are you not working hard? If you work hard, why haven't you made any progress? He despised him in his heart, but in reality, he was overjoyed. Lao Bai, long time no see. I miss you a little. I'm surrounded by a pack of wolves, but only now am I in a much happier mood. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1993. 1993 Chapter 442 Focus Gathering 1. Seeing Bai Feng again, Suyu was in a good mood. He was very happy, very happy. Although this teacher wasn't very responsible, one had to say that when he first came to the Great Xia Institute of Civilization, Bai Feng had taught him many things and given him a lot of help. Moreover, Bai Feng had taught him a lot of things, even some secrets. Suyu knew how to split the divine literature battle techniques and create the innate blood essence. Outsiders couldn't get their hands on them, but Bai Feng had passed them on to him casually. As well as the 100 drops of mountain-breaking ox's blood essence used in the foundation establishment stage, Suyu knew that the mountain-breaking ox's blood essence was so useful. It had to be said that many mountain-breaking oxen had died, and Bai Feng was also an indirect executioner. Ever since Bai Feng was sent to the heavenly battlefield, Suyu had almost never seen him. The last time he appeared as Cui Lang, he didn't meet Bai Feng either. At this moment, Suyu was in a good mood when he saw him again. On the heavenly battlefield, a pack of wolves surrounded him. There was no one around him that he could trust. He felt like he was trying to survive in a crevice. He was afraid that someone would suddenly stab him in the back. Suyu felt extremely insecure. But at this moment, he relaxed a lot. He was relaxed, but Bai Feng was vigilant. He looked around and cursed. This cousin of his was too deceitful. On the way back, he had to be careful too. Wu Yuehua had already disappeared into the void. She had gone to inspect the enemies in the dark. Bai Feng led the way, at the same time, she cursed, when we reach the Great Xia Mansion, there will be a caravan from the Great Xia Mansion going to the Great Ming Mansion. You will follow the caravan. You idiot, get lost as soon as possible. I have the same bloodline as you. Suyu laughed and retorted. With Bai Juansheng's identity, he was so angry that old Bai exploded. It seemed like he was also very happy. You. Bai Feng was indeed half-dead angry. He said angrily, "What's wrong with Grandpa? What did my father ask you to tell me?" Grandpa failed to open his young aperture. He was injured. When he said this, Bai Feng was not surprised. He sighed and said, "I guessed it." Suyu asked curiously, "Do you know how to open your young openings?" "That's right. Teacher is a member of the Bai family. Do you know how to open your young openings? If you open them, can you control them?" To be honest, Suyu thought that it would be very powerful if his young openings were fully opened. However, he didn't dare to do so. This was because once the young openings were opened, it would be impossible to stop it. It would continuously absorb the energy from your acupoints. Suyu was fine, but the energy from his acupoints was very powerful. He could still hold on for a period of time, but an ordinary person wouldn't be able to do so. Was Old Master Bai really going to open all of his young apertures? If that was the case, it would be incredible if he could hold on until now and not die. He was tough enough. "I won't." Bai Feng said unhappily, "To open the young aperture and explode the acupoints first, you are courting death." The method left behind by the ancestor was not reliable to begin with. There must be another way to open the young aperture. As he said this, Bai Feng realized something and was a little surprised. He suddenly turned to look at Suyu and said, "Young aperture." He was a little strange. What young aperture? Of course, he could roughly understand the meaning of this concept. Therefore, he didn't pay much attention to it at the beginning. However, at this moment, he was suddenly stunned. The Bai family didn't name this aperture. Similarly, no one named this aperture. The one who really named it was actually Suyu. As for Suyu, he didn't tell many people. He had only mentioned it to Lu Wenyan. Therefore, this was the first time the term young aperture had appeared. Suyu had mentioned the primordial spirit aperture, not the yin and yang apertures. Suyu did not mind it at first. He was used to it. At this moment, when he saw his expression, Suyu pretended to be calm and said, "You don't even know about the yang aperture. The last time Suyu came to our house, he told me. He said that our Bai family's elder ancestor opened the yang aperture, and the corresponding one should be the yin aperture. Only when the yin and yang are balanced can the yang aperture be opened without any trouble." Suyu. Bai Feng felt relieved and nodded slightly. The yang aperture and yin aperture. He thought for a moment and said, "This is what he said about the primordial spirit aperture. The primordial spirit aperture and the divine aperture both have an explosive point, a gathering point, and a combination point. I've read some of his theories, and speaking of which, his theories were all taught to him by me." Bai Feng sighed and said, "Actually, I was the one who discovered the primordial spirit aperture. However, Suyu made some more outstanding discoveries in this aspect. At least he didn't lose the face of my teacher." "All right." Suyu couldn't be bothered to say anything to him. This was the only hobby of his teacher. He would brag a little whenever he was free. Thinking back to those years, he had always said that no one could beat him and that he was invincible in his generation. In the end, he only found out later that he had been beaten 3 times by Huang Teng. He was a dead duck who refused to admit defeat, and Suyu had heard it from somewhere else. Since Suyu was brought up, Suyu also took the opportunity to inquire about the situation. "Brother, is Suyu doing well in the heavenly battlefield?" "He's all right." Bai Feng did not say much about this. What was there to be all right about? He was about to die. That be asterisk starred, it would be uncomfortable if he did not cause trouble. He was all right now. He had heard that no one dared to go to the ancient city of Xinghong. Even if that fellow wanted to cause trouble, he could not. He then turned to look at his cousin and said with some dissatisfaction, "Don't copy him. There was such a trend." To actually look for trouble in the southern Yuan, this wasn't the Bai family's style, this was Su Yu's style. As for Su Yu, he felt that this wasn't his fault. Stir up trouble. Bai Feng taught him. Yes, Bai Feng taught him. Su Yu remembered that when he first came to the academy, in order to let him see how strong the multi-divine prosa's combat skills were, Bai Feng then went to beat up Zhou Mingren's disciple, Hu Wensheng, who was at the 7th level of the Soaring Heavens realm and defeated the 9th level of the Soaring Heavens realm. After that, Hu Wensheng had entered closed-door cultivation and was unable to come out. This had led to a battle between the multi-divine pros and the single divine pros. Wasn't Bai Feng the one who had taught him the ability to pick a fight? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1994. 1994 Chapter 442 Focus Gathering 2. And now he even denied it. Su Yu grumbled in his heart, but Bai Feng did not think too much about it. Su Yu had nothing better to do, causing trouble, and his ability to find trouble was top-notch. What did all of this have to do with me, Bai Feng? He did not remember what he had done. At this moment, he was still having a headache over these things. Looking at his cousin behind him, who had a disapproving look on his face, he could not help but say angrily, "Cut the crap. Did you hear what I said? When we arrive at the Great Xia Manor, we will leave together with the caravan tomorrow." "I'm not leaving. You." Bai Feng's lungs hurt, he said angrily, "Fine, if you don't leave, I won't care about you. I don't care whether you die or not. Also, how did you get involved with the Heaven Hunting Pavilion? That organization is not a good thing. Today, all the big manors are surrounding them. Do you know that?" Su Yu quickly said, "I know, but they gave me a lot. They protected me for free. Look, they helped me kill a few troublemakers." "You." Bai Feng was speechless. "Gave you a lot. They would give you free protection. What are you thinking? It's really free. Of course, I promised them that I would introduce you to them." "Nonsense." Bai Feng was furious. Su Yu smiled and said, "Don't be anxious, brother. They said that they have just started doing business, so there are many discounts. For example, if I introduce you, they will help me once for free. If you introduce Elder Hong for free, then there might be benefits for free. Elder Hong can also introduce Manor Head Wan, Lord Xia, and the like for free. Perhaps they can also do it for free." Bai Feng was taken aback. A moment later, he asked, "How much?" Su Yu secretly pursed his lips. "I knew it. Let's see how you negotiate." Bai Feng was deep in thought. Something that was free, it would be a waste if he didn't take it. Wasn't it just to recommend my teacher to them? It wasn't a big deal. In the myriad heavens battlefield, there was nothing to be afraid of. In the human realm, there was nothing to be afraid of. This younger cousin of his had learned how to do business. "You have the talent hunting list?" "Yes." "Let me use it." Su Yu was speechless. "You're really anxious." Very soon, he took out a list and handed it to Bai Feng. This was what he had used before. It was considered by Juancheng so as to avoid any mistakes. Ignoring Bai Feng, Su Yu quickly operated the white mask by himself. It entered the Sea of Will. This white mask could be considered an earth soldier, so it could naturally be put away. Previously, Su Yu was afraid of trouble and was afraid that the white mask would be dangerous, that was why he didn't include it in the Sea of Will. At this moment, he still had to take a risk. Otherwise, it would be troublesome if he didn't communicate all this time. It wasn't good to wear it. In the Sea of Will, Su Yu sensed for a moment and soon saw Huang Jiao's message. He replied, "I've already left. The mission has been successfully completed. The previous missions won't earn much. This time, it's free. My colleagues, take a long-term view and use a long line to catch a big fish. There were usually rewards for missions, but there were none this time. Because there was no fee. Huang Jiao quickly replied, "It's all right. I saw Bai Feng. He's one of the vortex characters in the human realm this time. It's a good thing that I've come into contact with him so quickly. Xian Jiao's business ability is still very strong." At this moment, D18 also praised him. It seemed that he had not gained anything from the first mission, but he had quickly entered the circle of core human realm characters this time. The network gains were the key. The white faces of the other manners were still looking for a place, a stronghold, and waiting to blend in. The great Xia manners had already begun to accept missions and build their reputation. Su Yu did not reply, because very soon, he received a message from Bai Feng. "Heaven Hunting Pavilion. I am Bai Feng. My cousin said that after using your sub-ranking, he will introduce my master to you. He can give me 1,000 rays of heaven and earth mystic light. Is that true?" Su Yu was speechless. He raised his head and looked at Bai Feng, who was walking slowly in front of him. "You're really good. You're lying through your teeth." Very quickly, Su Yu replied in his mind, "Impossible. Of course, if researcher Bai uses our ranking and is willing to introduce Elder Hong Tan to us, we will pay a price if it's within our capabilities. Just say it directly, what benefits do you have?" Su Yu ridiculed. He was really straightforward and did not hesitate. He quickly said, "Killing and protection are free under the sun and the moon. Of course, it's only once, and we will judge the degree of danger. If it's too dangerous, we will refuse. That's it." Bai Feng, who was walking in front, seemed very dissatisfied. He even turned around and glared at Bai Junsheng. "Alright," Su Yu thought that he had been discovered by him. "Why are you glaring at me?" Very soon, Bai Feng's message was sent again. "Kill him and protect him. Help me find my senior brother and secretly protect him for half a year. F***CKU. Su Yu was speechless. This was too difficult. To be honest, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion might not even know where Qin Yong was. And secretly protect him for half a year. What a joke. However, it might not be impossible. In fact, he could give it a try. Thinking of this, Su Yu quickly communicated with Kai Yi. This was the law enforcer of the Black Division. He did not know if he had died. Bai Yi was at the 6th level of the Sun and Moon, and Kai Yi should also be at the middle stage of the Sun and Moon. As Su Yu's superior in the human realm, Su Yu could also contact the other party. Very quickly, Su Yu sent out a message, "Law Enforcer Kai Yi, our division has already set up camp in the Great Xia Manor. Previously, we accepted the first mission to protect Bai Feng's younger brother, Bai Junsheng. The mission was successfully completed. Now, Bai Feng has communicated with our division and wants us to find Qin Yong's location and protect Qin Yong. Speak more directly." Kai Yi's message was quickly transmitted over. Bai Feng, Hong Tan's disciple, Yi Beishan's grand disciple. Clearly, Kai Yi was considering it. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1995. 1995 Chapter 442 Focus Gathering 3. One had to say that the Great Xia Manor branch had entered the character too quickly. Kai Yi, who was hiding everywhere, could actually monitor their conversations. The channels that Su Yu and Huang Jiao had opened could be seen by the law enforcers. Su Yu had his own guesses, so he wouldn't randomly chat in these public channels. The only thing he could be sure of now was that the conversation between him and Xian Jia couldn't be seen by others. It could be considered a top-secret channel. As for the rest, it could be seen by others. Including the conversation between him and Bai Feng. Of course, Su Yu had no evidence. Kai Yi quickly said, "You want to seek the help of the human realm branch?" "Yes, because this is to open up the market, we need more support from the headquarters. Bai Feng is a key figure, and the Great Xia Mansion is the core of the storm. I hope that the headquarters will give us more support. Kai Yi thought about it. Soon, she said, okay, I will report it to the headquarters to find Qin Yong and provide protection. But Xianjiu, the Great Xia Mansion is very dangerous. We can contact Bai Feng and the others, but we have to be careful so that we won't be plotted against by them. I know. Also, when will Black Mask, Colorful Mask, and Gray Mask, the enforcers of Kai Yi, enter the border? We are too short-handed, and we have to send out a few white masks for small missions. We can't be in two places at once, so we can't pick them up at all. Arrange it as soon as possible. Thank you. No need. The communication was cut off, and soon, Suyu wrote back to Bai Feng. I'll reply to you later. I've reported to the headquarters. It will take some time to find Qin Yong's whereabouts, and I need to arrange some people to protect him. It might not be completed smoothly. All right. Bai Feng didn't have much hope, and he quickly asked, by the way, do you accept the mission to kill Invincible? We don't have enough authority to make a deal. Damn it, this is similar to the conversation I had with the Heaven Hunting Pavilion back then. You think you can do anything just like that? Bai Feng looked down on him and quickly asked, then do you guys accept other missions, like saving Su Yu or something like that? I can't. Bai Feng snorted. Su Yu heard it and was a little touched. As his teacher, he still remembered to save me. In the next moment, Bai Feng sent another message. Then can you pass on a message to Su Yu? I can give it a try. Ask him to announce that I am his teacher in the ancient city. I can take over the mission for him. That brat has killed so many suns and moons. It would be a waste if he doesn't accept the reward. As his teacher, I will reluctantly accept the reward for him. Su Yu was speechless. His teacher was thinking the same thing as him. I also feel that it would be a waste if I don't accept the reward. You can try. Try your best. Your Heaven Hunting Pavilion can do whatever you want. You want to establish a foothold in the human race just like this? He was despised. Also, send me a list as soon as possible. Can you send it to the Great Xia Institute of Civilization? Send it to the entrance of our research institute. Su Yu was helpless. He was courting death. Of course, he could do it. However, if that happened, Heaven Hunting Pavilion would probably guess that he had sneaked into the Great Xia Institute of Civilization. It would not be so easy, and Su Yu's identity would be easily exposed. He was now deceiving many people. I'll send it to you as soon as possible, but the exact location is not convenient to reveal. TSK, if you're afraid, just say it. Bai Feng did not say anything more and casually threw the scoreboard to Su Yu. He turned his head and said, don't come into contact with this organization. You're too stupid. This organization isn't any good. This time, the strength of the human realm can only be said to be average. There are many missions that cannot be completed at all. Su Yu felt that Xianjiu was despised. Forget it, it's up to you. He nodded and said with a smile, I know, brother. Do you want to set a trap and catch them all in one go? Nonsense, do you think I don't want to? Bai Feng said snappily, I asked them to send me the scoreboard and find an opportunity to kill them. They are not stupid and know the danger. They don't dare to tell me when to send them, who to send them, and where to send them. He had guessed it. Su Yu felt helpless. How pitiful. He had to be more careful in the future. It was not just one or two people who were thinking this way. They all wanted to kill the people from the Heaven Hunting Pavilion. The two of them were chatting when Wu Yuehua appeared in the sky. She said, I don't think anyone has come. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion's matter will be left to the Great Xia Mansion to settle later. Don't get involved personally. After saying that, she said seriously, this organization is extremely powerful. It is extremely mysterious on the heavenly battlefield. It controls many ancient secrets. There are even rumors that some of their pavilion masters or tower masters might be invincible from the ancient times. Su Yu was surprised. Was there such a rumor? Probably. It seemed normal. This organization indeed had a long history. If that was the case, the strength of the heaven hunting pavilion would be a little terrifying. Invincible from the ancient times. Su Yu had seen how powerful the stone sculpture was. It was the invincible realm that was passed down from the ancient times. Bai Feng nodded slightly and said, I know that. In fact, there are some people from the Great Xia mansion who have sneaked in, but they are only at the bottom level. Their higher-ups have a very strict organization. Invincible, elders, and even White Mask, very few people can sneak in. They are all experts that they have trained themselves. Is it very difficult for White Mask to infiltrate the organization? Su Yu was surprised. I managed to infiltrate the organization very easily. It was not a strange thing for someone to infiltrate the heaven hunting pavilion. This organization even recruited their own people. They recruited geniuses to join them. The first time they met, they had already invited Su Yu. Of course, these people who joined the organization were usually not from the higher-ups. Therefore, Bai Feng knew a little about it. However, he did not know much about it. He had only heard about it. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1996. 1996 Chapter 442 Focus Gathering 4. At this moment, Wu Yuehua also walked down from the void. As she flew, she said, it's right to have less contact with them. Of course, if you really lack any treasures, you can trade with them for the resources needed for cultivation. Even if they don't have them, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion will sometimes act as a middleman to help you contact the people who have these treasures. Bai Feng nodded. He did not talk about the Heaven Hunting Pavilion anymore. He looked at Su Yu again and said, you'd better go back and cultivate. You're flying alone, and you have the nerve to run around. You're flying too. Me? Bai Feng snorted coldly. If it weren't for you, I would be Ling Yun after a few more days of closed-door cultivation. Moreover, my flying is different from yours. It was indeed different. Su Yu nodded. I could crush your soaring with a single finger. To be honest, I was also soaring with my physical body. Moreover, strictly speaking, I was only at the 8th level of soaring. I had just reached the 8th level, and my realm wasn't even higher than yours. You were already at the 9th level. As they walked and chatted, everyone's speed wasn't slow either. They were close to the Great Xia Mansion City, and the Myriad Clan sect wasn't stupid enough to come here and kill them. Since the mission couldn't be completed, the Myriad Clan sect also chose to give up. Not to mention that the reward wasn't high, the price they had to pay was too heavy. No matter how weak the mountains and seas were, they were still mountains and seas. Along the way, they had killed quite a few, so who would accept this mission? There were many people who scolded those who issued the mission, using the religion of 10,000 races as cannon fodder. They had arrived at the prefecture capital of Great Xia. Su Yu no longer had the shock of his first time here and the fear of a country bumpkin entering the city. Now, in his eyes, the prefecture capital of Great Xia was just like this. As for the soldiers guarding the city, they were a group of 10,000 stone soldiers and a small number of them were floating in the air. Now that he looked at them again, they were really weak, unlike their first time here. At a glance, wow, there were so many experts, 10,000 stone experts. Now, on the battlefield of the heavens, other than the army, there were almost no lone travelers who could see 10,000 stone. If they could see it, it was either an expert in disguise or an accidental stray. Whoever called out Wan Shi as an expert would be laughed at. The three of them quickly rushed toward the Great Xia Institute of Civilization. Bai Feng said as they walked, stop at the institute for a while, then leave immediately. How many times have you repeated it? I will leave. You have to give me a few days of rest, right? Suyu said unhappily, to think that you are a big shot from the polytheistic college. What's wrong with me staying here for a few days? Bai Feng was furious. Was that the problem? This idiot, did he know that you would drag the Bai family into this? He was so angry that he was about to die. He couldn't be bothered to talk about him anymore. Bai Feng headed straight for the college. A fellow who couldn't accomplish anything and ruined everything. At most 3 days. If you still don't leave after 3 days, I'll knock you out and send you off. Great Xia Civilization College. As usual, it was quiet, but not peaceful enough. Now, it was already October. It had been 2 months since the new students entered the academy. There were more people in the academy. There were also more experts. There were many experts. There were the Tao protectors of the students of the myriad races, the Tao protectors of the disciples of the great families, and the researchers who had applied. Compared to when Suyu left, there were many more experts in the academy. At this moment. In the Cultivation Heart Pavilion. In the meeting room of the Pavilion Elders, the Pavilion Elders were having a meeting. Of course, this had nothing to do with the myriad sage. He had not participated in these meetings for a long time. He was going into seclusion to break through to the Sun and Moon realm. Currently, the meetings were usually hosted by Yuan Qingdong. This deputy prefect who had come to seek enlightenment realm was very ostentatious at the beginning, but recently, he had also become much more low-key. After Hong Tan broke through to the Sun and Moon realm, he had become even more low-key. Today, there were many things that he had to say. Yuan Qingdong didn't say anything more. When everyone had arrived, he said to himself, the meeting is starting. The first thing is that Principal Zhou Mingren is coming back. He killed a sun and moon in the vanguard camp and completed his mission. Not only him, but his student Zheng Yuming is also coming back. He glanced at Hong Tan and quickly said, Zhou Suo realm means that Zhou Mingren will continue to be in charge of the Divine Literature Academy. Of course, it can be said that it's a single Divine Literature Academy now. Does anyone have any objections? After he finished speaking, he glanced at everyone. Seeing that they were all looking at Hong Tan, he also looked at Hong Tan. Hong Tan ignored them. He was thinking, why hasn't that brat Bai Feng returned yet? If there are no objections, then it's settled. Yuan Qingdong forced a smile and said, including Principal Hong and I, the Great Xia Institute of Civilization has recovered some of its vitality. There are now 3 Sun-Moon realm experts. Everyone fell silent. Yuan Qingdong was also used to it. He continued, the second thing is that the Heaven Hunting Pavilion has entered the realm since yesterday. A large number of experts have entered the human realm. There are traces of the other party within the Great Xia Manor. The Great Xia Manor needs our help to investigate. Everyone, be more attentive. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion members this time are very strong. If they meet, try to stall for time and wait for the Great Xia Manor to resolve it. The third thing is that it's already October, and the assassinations outside are still happening. The suzerain has asked me to ask Principal Hong when Chen Yong will be back. Hong Tan raised his head and said in surprise, my disciple is missing, and you're asking me? You're not going to save him, but you're asking me? Yuan Qingdong was too lazy to say anything else. In the past, he would have argued with Hong Tan based on reason, but now, forget it. None of these fellows were afraid of them. As you wish. If Chen Yong doesn't appear at the end of December, the 3 unrivaled experts' decision will come into effect. Hong Tan didn't care about this and could say whatever they wanted. Yuan Qingdong continued, fourth, Elder Jia and the others have been in seclusion for a long time. Their situation isn't too stable now. If it's not for the life and death seclusion, they should all come out as soon as possible. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1997. 1997 Chapter 442 Focus Gathering 5. No one answered this. It was their business if the elder went into seclusion. Who knew if it was a critical moment? Fifth, the quest realm allows us to try our best to find out Lan Tian's whereabouts. Recently, the myriad clans seem to be interested in joining forces, including a large number of experts from the myriad clans sneaking into the human realm. Lan Tian is the highest-ranking member of the myriad clans that we know the most clearly. There was still silence. This was also the norm during the meeting. After Yuan Qingdong said this, he exhaled and fell silent for a moment before saying the last sentence. Finally, on the quest realm side, I hope that Elder Zhao Ligay can make a trip to the ancient city of Xinghong and come in contact with Su Yu. This includes the upgrade of his innate talent, blood essence extraction technology, as well as the hope that Su Yu can provide some resources to the human race. He did not wait for the others to speak, he quickly said, "It has nothing to do with me. I'm only responsible for passing on information and instructions. As for the rest, don't ask me. I don't know. If you don't want to go, you can reject me. I'll pass on the truth to the people of the exploration stage. That's all." He knew that once he said this, he would definitely be dissed. However, he did not want to be dissed. Therefore, don't tell me that I'm just a tool person who passes on orders. I don't care about anything else. Even though Su Yu had left, he still had a strong foundation in the Institute of Civilization. Among the elders, there were many from the Divine Literature Department. In addition, there were the Neutral Department's Elder Huang, Elder Nye, and the newly promoted Elder Zhao, who were all on Su Yu's side. On the Divine Talisman Department side, there were also elders who spoke up for Su Yu. There was no need to mention the Divine Pill Department. Therefore, once these words were said, they would definitely be criticized. However, this time, it was still fortunate that Hong Tan did not make a move. Instead, he nodded slightly and said, "If that kid is really as the rumors say and can extract the sun and moon essence blood, in fact, by Feng and I don't have control over this technique, so we can learn it. However, he might have already lost his nature and given priority to killing, telling the seeker boundary that anyone who is not afraid of death can go and try. Zhao Li is an earth soldier master, so forget it." Hong Tan smiled and said, "Let's go and try. If we go to the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm, the danger isn't too great. At most, we'll be sealed off by him. The human race will think of a way to rescue us." His smile was a little strange. "Go. The current Su Yu, can you threaten him or command him?" He was in charge of an area and had become the overlord of the ancient city. Even if he was invincible, he would be unlucky. Forget about the Sun-Moon realm, those who weren't afraid of death, just go. They would think that it was that Su Yu who had been forced away. After saying that, he said, "If I remember correctly, the one in charge of the quest realm now is the Dharming King. Is this an order from the Dharming King?" "No." "Then who gave you the order for the quest realm?" Yuan Qingdong said numbly, "The 9 great clans." "I'm not sure. Under normal circumstances, they are in charge of trivial matters. Don't ask me. I haven't returned to the quest realm for a long time." Hong Tan thought for a moment, he said, "How about this? We can ask the quest state to provide some resources. The innate blood essence method was created by us. We can also create the sun and moon blood essence. We just need a large amount of sun and moon blood essence for experiments. We hope that the quest state can provide a few thousand drops. I'll pass it on." Yuan Qingdong had a numbed expression. "I'll pass it on. Don't tell me anything else." Hong Tan was truly a little surprised. "You didn't even refute me when I said that, yet you still want to pass on the message. Have you been bullied here until you've turned into a fool? What a strange fellow." Yuan Qingdong couldn't be bothered to argue with him. Arguing with him would be troublesome. At this moment, he was in the Great Xia Manor, in the center of this storm, and he could already faintly feel some pressure and danger. He really couldn't stay here any longer. Those fellows in the Seeker realm didn't come over, and they didn't experience some of the recent changes in the Great Xia Manor, so they were unable to notice it. However, he knew that it was best for him to leave as soon as possible. Otherwise, he might really lose his life here. Wan Tianxing hadn't appeared all this while, causing him, who was in the Seeker realm, to be in charge of the academy. In the past, he was happy, but now, he was apprehensive and uneasy. This Great Xia Civilization Academy was like a crematorium that was about to explode. It exploded, and not even a corpse was left. After speaking for a while, Yuan Qingdong stood up and said, "That's it. I might have to go into closed-door cultivation in the near future. If there's nothing important, try not to look for me. Principal Xia and Principal Su can handle it." After saying this, he quickly left. In the entire meeting room of the Pavilion Elders, the group of Pavilion Elders looked at each other in dismay. This Yuan Qingdong was completely different from when he first arrived. In the beginning, he had to interfere in everything. Now, he wished that he could just ignore everything. Those who didn't know would think that they were suppressing him. Alright, they had indeed suppressed him for a while. "Principal Hong, how's the situation on your side? The polytheistic college has opened. It's very chaotic. There are all kinds of people. Can you still hold on your side?" Hong Tan smiled and said, "It's fine. It's fine as long as Manor Head Xia attains the Tao. The reason why I accepted these people this time is to ease the relationship between the myriad races. Recently, the students from the various great clans of the celestial, demonic, immortal, and dragon races have been studying very happily. This way, the relationship between the Great Xia Manor and them will also ease up a bit." What nonsense! Everyone was speechless. Could it really be eased up? They didn't have any hope. They felt that the current Great Xia Manor was a little strange from top to bottom. At this moment, in the upper echelons of the Heart Cultivation Pavilion, Wan Tianxing suddenly turned his head to look at the entrance of the academy with a complicated look in his eyes. He seemed to be laughing and crying at the same time. "He's back. You came back so quickly this time. It was so fast that I was at a loss. Sigh. It's about time for Fatty Xia to return." With a sigh, Wan Tianxing smiled. "It's good that he's back. It's good that he's back. Fatty Xia should be back by now. What are you waiting for outside?" The Dragon Martial Guards had all gathered, and most of the experts in the residence had returned. But now, in the heavenly battlefield, the Great Xia residents didn't have much strength left. Lu Wenyan and the others should be back by now. Xia Yinqi and the others should have broken through to the Sun and Moon realm by now. Wan Tianxing counted one by one. It was about time to begin. The Great Xia Manor's many divine inscriptions faction quickly rose up, and the invincible remains appeared. Chen Yong and the others had discovered some clues, but Chen Yong wasn't enough. Given Ji Hong's level, this fellow had been investigating for a long time, and it was about time for him to show himself. He wanted to let others know that he had some control over the situation. Looking in the direction of the Department of Cultivation, Wan Tianxing smiled. This fellow was quite bold. He still dared to continue investigating. If it wasn't for the Great Xia clan covering for him, he would have long been discovered. Being too bold might not necessarily be a good thing. Of course, it wasn't too bad now. It was also part of the plan. After thinking about this, he looked at Yuan Qingdong who had left. He was a little surprised. This wasn't part of the plan. This wasn't good. Yuan Qingdong should be extremely overbearing. Those who should be asking for help shouldn't be so low-key. This was not in line with his expectations. He had to change it a little. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1998. 1998 Chapter 443, I'm so scared. 1. At the entrance of the academy. Bai Feng scolded, what are you waiting for? Go in now. Suyu nodded and didn't say anything. He followed Bai Feng into the main entrance of the academy. There was no inspection. The recent academy seemed to have been a little more permissive. In the past, when outsiders entered the academy, they needed to be inspected. As for Suyu, he didn't receive such treatment. He did not know if it was because Bai Feng's status had risen or if the entire academy was fishing. When they arrived at the academy, Wu Yuehua did not follow them. It was just Bai Feng and Suyu. The sky had just turned bright, and there were not many people in the academy. However, they also saw some students who were dancing and listening to the rooster. It seemed that they had been reading books since a long time ago. In the academy, there were still people who were focused on reading and doing research. Suyu glanced at them for a while and did not look at them. Bai Feng, on the other hand, ignored all of this. As he walked, he said, I'll arrange for you to live in the nature garden. Get lost in 3 days. No, I want to live in the research institute. Nonsense. Bai Feng said angrily, is the research institute something that you can enter? Suyu lives in the research institute. He told you this too. Bai Feng was surprised, but he quickly snapped, he's a student of our polytheistic department. Of course he can stay, but you can't. Then I'll join the polytheistic department too. Do you want to die? Bai Feng turned his head and glared at him. His gaze was cold and stern. If you continue to cause trouble for me, I won't be polite to you. Suyu pursed his lips. Then forget it. The real culprit. I just wanted to take a look. Seriously, why are you being so fierce? Then I want to pay a visit to Principal Hong. I don't have the time to deal with you. What's your status? Do you have the qualifications to pay a visit? Bai Feng mocked, just based on your reputation as the heavenly capital's 8 princes? What a joke. In this academy, any one of you can crush you. Not to mention soaring into the sky, even some 10,000 stones can crush you. I don't believe it. Alright, I'll find someone to spar with you later. 10,000 stone 9 stage, let's see if he can beat you to death. Zhou Hao. N. Bai Feng was stunned for a moment. You know. I've heard of him. He's only 9th level of 10,000 stones. Didn't he say that he's already at the soaring heavens realm? Bai Feng frowned as he looked at him. After this cousin came to the academy, there were some changes. Of course, he didn't really understand what he was seeing. At this moment, when he heard this, he frowned and said, no, he wanted to open his aperture himself. He wanted to learn from my student and open a few hundred apertures. However, he still hasn't broken through and is still at 9th level of 10,000 stones. Suyu nodded. Zhou Hao's ambition wasn't small. At this moment, the names in his memories flickered. To be honest, it hadn't been long since he left the Great Xia Manor. It hadn't been a year since he left. He left at the end of last year. It was now October, and only 10 months had passed. However, some people seemed to have been separated for a long time. The wild Zhou Hao, the saint-like Wan Mingze. Speaking of Wan Mingze, the last time Suyu heard about him was a long time ago. At that time, Wulan told him not long after he came out of the 100 Dao Pavilion. She told Suyu that Wan Mingze had left. Wan Mingze established the so-called Youth Alliance Army and left with quite a number of people. Back then, the top 10 of the top 100, Jiang Mu, Zhan Hai, and Hu Wenqing's eldest disciple, Guo Xingquan, who was only heard of but not seen, had left with Wan Mingze. These people all left with Wan Mingze. However, Hu Qiusheng, who had a good relationship with Wan Mingzi, did not follow him. There was also Zheng Yunhui, the grandson of old Zheng, Xia Ho's granddaughter, Xia Chan, and Fatty Jia, whose name was well known and who did not know the situation. The last time he came, Suyu did not feel so emotional. Because last time, he came for the matter of Qin Yong. This time, he felt more emotional. These people seemed to be very far away now, but in fact, they were not far away. "Brother, what's the situation with that Wan Mingzi recently?" Suyu asked. Bai Feng was a little surprised. "You still know how to care about things outside?" "Wan Mingzi. That kid isn't bad. His Youth Alliance army has already expanded by a lot. Now, there are around 100 people in each manor. They are all of the younger generation. Recently, they are fighting in a few great seas. They are practicing first, and soon, they will go to the heavenly battlefield to participate in the battle." There were already more than 100 people. Speaking of which, this number was very small. However, the so-called purpose of the Youth Alliance was really stupid. Of course, it had to be said that it was very ideal and beautiful. To fight for the peace of the human race. To fight for the unification of the human race's battle line. This was the Youth Alliance army. Xia Huyo had said a long time ago that Wan Mingzi was either a saint or a hypocrite. Suyu didn't care about this, but Wan Mingzi's ideals were still very great. Even if he was just pretending, he was still pretending to be great. Not to mention, Wan Mingzi was practically penniless. With just one ideal, he actually gathered more than 100 people. That was pretty good. Suyu had suspected that there was an invincible existence behind this. It could be some invincible disciple, but he didn't know whether it was him or not. Then how are their performances in the sea area? Their combat strength is very strong. Bai Feng wasn't stingy with his praise. They are a group of young people with great prospects and aspirations. They are stronger than us. We have ideals, but we can't realize them. However, they have at least achieved their own ideals. Wan Mingzi and the others have all entered the sky. In the sea area, they have also gained some fame. As he spoke, he sighed. Speaking of which, the young people of this generation are all pretty good. After saying that, he said, "You have to learn a little." "I know." Bai Feng ignored him. What did he know? If he knew, he wouldn't have come here. As he brought him to the recuperation garden, Bai Feng quickly said, "You can stay here by yourself. If you have any matters, you can look for me at the Wentan Research Center. I'll see if there are any more powerful caravans coming over and arrange for you to follow them." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1999. 1999 Chapter 443 I'm so scared. 2. Suyu did not say anything. As he walked, Suyu said, "I want to live alone. No money. I'll pay for it myself." "That's up to you." The two of them conversed. Suyu was not in a hurry to reveal his identity. Revealing it now might not be a good thing. In fact, he wanted to meet someone first. To be honest, the moment he entered, he felt that he might have been targeted by someone. It was a very special feeling. In the Heart Cultivation Pavilion, someone was watching him. After meeting that person, he would talk about other things. Soon, Bai Feng arranged a residence for him. It was indeed a single residence, but it required Suyu to pay for it himself. Suyu naturally would not mind such a small amount of money. If he lacked everything, he did not lack money. Yuan Qi liquid was stored in barrels. Very quickly, Bai Feng left. He still had many things to do. If it was not for this disappointing younger brother, he would not have come out of seclusion. Bai Feng left. As for Suyu, he did not stay in the house. He also walked out and strolled around the campus alone. It had changed. There were many experts. In the Great Xia Manor, when Su Yu entered the school, there were 42 pavilion elders. Of them, 36 were from Shanghai and 6 were from Lingyun. Later on, many died. On the Divine Literature Department side, Yu Hong, Sun Xiang, and the others had all died. A portion of the pavilion elders had gone into seclusion, and a portion had gone to the heavens battlefield. In reality, the mountains and seas of the school, logically speaking, only had around 30 people. This could be considered a powerful force. However, as Su Yu walked and stopped, the sensing jade revealed many light spots. Especially when it came to the Myriad Race Academy, the number was even more frightening. Mountains and seas, more than 30. Sun and moon, 6. The Great Xia Academy recruited the myriad races, and these people had Tao protectors. However, Su Yu didn't expect that so many Tao protectors would come. Mountains and seas, sun and moon, so many. Could the Great Xia Civilization Academy hold on? Well, that wasn't all. He walked to another large courtyard that seemed to be newly built, and felt more information about experts. There were dozens of mountains and seas. There were also 7 or 8 suns and moons. In a small college, there were more than 10 suns and moons. Were these the Tao protectors of the newly recruited many divine literature students? Su Yu thought to himself and continued to wander. More than 10 suns and moons, and dozens of mountains and seas with nearly 100 suns and moons. If it weren't for the fact that such a force lacked some mid to late stage suns and moons, it would definitely be comparable to a large race. He had the sensing jade, and at this moment, Su Yu also wanted to go to the Heart Cultivation Pavilion to take a look. He wanted to see the strength of that Prefect Wan. Very quickly, he arrived at the Heart Cultivation Pavilion's area. He didn't get close, but he was within 1,000 meters. Su Yu didn't say anything. There was no one on the sensing jade. Yes, there were no light spots. It wasn't that there weren't any, but he knew where Wan Tianqing lived, and there was no one there. Su Yu's induction jade was made by Zhao Tianbing. It had been modified by Hu Qi and the 2 Earth Soldier Masters. The effect was very good. Su Yu could detect even the 8th or 9th level of the sun and moon. But at this moment, he couldn't detect it at all. Su Yu took a deep breath. Was there a special method, or was there some other reason? He raised his head and looked at the Cultivation Heart Pavilion. The Cultivation Heart Pavilion had 36 floors, and Wan Tianqing seemed to live on the 35th floor. As for why he didn't live on the 36th floor, there were 2 versions. One was that Yi Batian lived on the 36th floor, and Wan Tianqing didn't live there. The other was that on an unknown day, a huge explosion occurred on the top floor of the Heart Cultivation Pavilion. The explosion tore through the top floor, and Wan Tianqing moved to the 35th floor. Of course, this wasn't important. Just as Su Yu was looking at the Heart Cultivation Pavilion, he suddenly retreated in fright. At this moment, a pair of black eyes on the 35th floor were also looking at him like a devil. Su Yu jumped in fright. F***CK. It's broad daylight, why are you scaring me? It's broad daylight, so scary. He felt like he was peeping, but who knew that he would suddenly discover that someone was peeping at him in advance. He was instantly frightened by that gaze. He instantly lowered his head and swallowed his saliva. Su Yu's combat strength was very strong, but at this moment, when he saw those eyes, he still had some fear. Was that Manor Head Wan? What a terrifying feeling. Just what kind of strength did he have? Just as Su Yu was thinking, a faint voice sounded in his ear, "You're here, come in and have a seat." Su Yu's heart moved slightly. As expected, I didn't hide it from him. It definitely wasn't because of my strength. The first time the Darming King saw him, he didn't notice him either, unless the other party had been probing him. As if he thought of something, Su Yu looked up again. That pair of eyes had already disappeared. Su Yu was actually not familiar with Wan Tiansheng. He was really not familiar with him. This person was too mysterious. From the beginning to the end, the only time they had met was when he came to the Heart Cultivation Pavilion to meet Wan Tiansheng. After that, they only heard his voice and didn't see him. Taking a deep breath, Su Yu walked towards the Heart Cultivation Pavilion. As he walked, his figure disappeared. There were guards at the entrance of the Heart Cultivation Pavilion. However, Su Yu walked straight past them and did not attract anyone's attention. He directly bypassed these guards and walked up the stairs one by one. As he walked, it was just like the first time. Su Yu saw many things again. It was as if he had entered the academy again. The last time, he saw many things here and saw himself killing, he saw Bai Feng and the others killing. And this time, he saw it again. He was still killing. In the academy, blood flowed like a river, and corpses littered the ground. Su Yu's expression changed slightly. With a low snort, all images shattered. He continued walking forward, and another scene appeared. It was still the same scene from before, but the venue did not seem to be in the academy anymore. It was somewhere else, and he was still killing. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2000. Chapter 443. I'm so scared. 3. Su Yu frowned and didn't bother about it. He continued walking. After walking for a while, he walked out of all this. A door appeared before his eyes. He had arrived at the 35th floor. Wan Tiansheng's back was facing him as he looked down at the academy. He said softly, "Is the world outside exciting?" "It's very exciting. I came last time. Why didn't you come to take a look?" "I didn't dare to come." "You didn't dare?" Wan Tiansheng smiled. "You didn't want to, right? Do you think that I became a joke because I promised you that the mountains and seas wouldn't dare to find trouble with you? I'm a person who doesn't keep his word. The head of the academy has a sharp eye. He recognized me a long time ago." Su Yu said calmly, "Did the head of the academy leave a mark on me?" "The mark is probably in my heart. In other places, I've been washed by the aura of death." "What did the head of the academy leave behind when he saw me for the first time?" "I guess so." Su Yu furrowed his brows and said, "If Manor Head Zhu didn't appear during the battle at Starfall Mountain, would the Manor Head appear?" "There are no ifs, are there?" Wan Tiansheng faintly said, "What's in the past is in the past. Is there still a need to know this?" "Yes, the Manor Head is right." Su Yu nodded and said, "What exactly is the Manor Head's strength?" "What you see is what you see. If you can't see it, then you don't need to know." Su Yu frowned and tried to be mysterious. "I've seen a lot of invincible beings, but you, old Wan, like to hide it the most. It's so mysterious." Wan Tiansheng smiled and suddenly said, "Do you know how to become invincible?" "Yes, 3 incarnations as one." "Then do you know how to capture 3 incarnations?" "I don't know." Wan Tiansheng smiled and said, "How about I tell you?" He turned his head and looked at Su Yu. His eyes were very bright, but there was a faint coldness that made people shiver. In a person's life, there is a past and a future. There is only one kind of past, and the future has endless possibilities. The past is the only one, the present is changing, and the future cannot be seen through. He smiled and suddenly grabbed towards Su Yu. Su Yu's expression changed, and he threw a punch. The myriad heaven sage's hand covered the sky, and he was extremely calm. He grabbed Su Yu's fist and said, "Your fist is still quite hard." "Not bad." Su Yu's expression changed. "So strong." He only felt that his fist was wrapped by his palm, and he could not move at all. It was just like how he had met the great Ming King before. "Don't struggle. I'll show you the past and the future. I'll show you the most mysterious river of time and space in this world. I'll show you this colorful world. The laughter was faint, and in the next moment, Suyu was a little absent-minded. It was as if he had entered another space. Splash! The sound of flowing water appeared, and Suyu's heart trembled slightly. He raised his head again, and the myriad heaven sage was right in front of him. Wan Tianqing's back was still facing him. He smiled and said, "Don't move, don't speak. Look at this colorful world. This is the long river of time and space. Be careful not to fall. If you fall, you might die. Head Prefect. Don't ask. Just listen to me. If I want to say it, then say it. If I don't want to say it, then don't say it." "No," Suyu interrupted, "Head Prefect, why do you always have your back facing me? There's a hole in the back of your shirt." "Nonsense." Wan Tianqing could not help but laugh. Suyu was speechless. "It's true." Wan Tianqing's figure trembled slightly as he carelessly touched it. After a long while, he said speechlessly, "Space-time corrosion, ignore it." After saying that, he turned to look at Suyu. Suyu was speechless. "Why aren't you turning your back on me anymore?" "Turning your back on me, is it very handsome?" At this moment, he was actually extremely shocked. He looked at the huge river beneath his feet. Was this the long river of space-time? The most mysterious thing in the myriad realms? Something that one had to come into contact with in order to become invincible? It was said that only top-tier experts at the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm could come into contact with it, step into this domain, explore the river of time and space, and capture the future and the past. As for Wan Tianqing, he ignored him. Suyu's position started to be on the same level as his. Wan Tianqing glanced at the river that led to the endless void and said with a smile, "Walking forward is the future. Walking backward is the past. There are thousands of paths in the future. There is only one past. Where do you want to go?" "Up to you." Suyu did not say anything. All he had now was endless curiosity and doubt. What exactly was Wan Tianqing's strength? Why did he bring him here? "Then let's go and take a look first." Wan Tianqing smiled. "My river of time and space can only see my past. It's very boring. I will try my best to show you something interesting." After saying that, he turned around and walked backward. Suyu quickly followed. The so-called long river of time and space was much simpler than Suyu had imagined. It was just a turbid river. The river water flowed with some waves. He and Wan Tianqing walked on the river and looked down at the river below. They could not see anything. Wan Tianqing smiled and said, "This is your past. A drop of water will wipe away your past memories. The so-called capturing past body is to capture a drop of water from the countless rivers. When you feel powerful, capture it back and use the object to carry it and turn it into your past body." Suyu thought for a moment and said, "In a person's past, the strongest is always the moment just now, right?" "Wrong." Wan Tianqing shook his head. "No, absolutely not. Let me ask you, were you stronger when you erupted with Yi Beishan's divine prose, or are you stronger now?" Suyu thought for a moment and said embarrassedly, "I was stronger then." "Isn't that so?" Wan Tianqing said indifferently, "You were the strongest then. If you captured past bodies, the past bodies would not be able to distinguish any external forces. That is your past. If you are strong, then you are strong." Suyu nodded and asked curiously, "Then can you capture countless past bodies?" You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2001. 2001 Chapter 443, I'm so scared. 4. You can't. If you capture one, you can't capture a second. The river will be very calm and won't flood. Su Yu said thoughtfully, you didn't capture the past body? No. What about the future body? No. So you're at the 9th level of the sun and moon? You can say that. Su Yu was surprised. Was this for real? He didn't quite believe it. Old Wan's words might not be taken seriously, but at this moment, the waves of the river were indeed like what Wan Tianqing said. They didn't capture the past. Of course, what he said might not be the truth. But was there a need to lie to me about this? Wan Tianqing ignored him and continued walking forward. At this moment, a small wave appeared. Wan Tianqing smiled and said, the small wave represents that at this moment, something special happened. Perhaps at this moment, you are the strongest. To capture the past and the future, choose those water droplets that are as big as waves and the highest water droplets to capture. After saying that, he stretched out his hand and grabbed. In the next moment, Su Yu's vision blurred and he appeared in the academy. A large hand stretched out and with a boom, he crushed a person. Su Yu was stunned. This was such a familiar scene. This was the moment when Myriad Sage crushed Qing Yuming. And at this moment, he also saw himself, the very weak him, in the Heart Cultivation Pavilion. In the Heart Cultivation Pavilion, there was also Myriad Sage. And besides Su Yu, there was also Myriad Sage. They were like outsiders, watching this scene, watching the Myriad Sage in the Heart Cultivation Pavilion make his move, and it was frighteningly calm. Beside them, Wan Tianqing said indifferently, this is the time when your strength fluctuated tremendously recently. If you don't capture it, then don't move. Don't cause space-time disorder. The so-called time reversal and killing are such methods. For example, right now, if I want to kill you, I can walk out of this place and kill you on the stage. Of course, there's a high probability that I'll die first. Killing someone through time reversal is actually the most difficult. Unless I have no other choice, I can give it a try. The greater possibility is that even if I kill you in the past, you'll still be alive. Because in the past, you have tens of thousands of memories. You might just lose this memory. Su Yu was surprised. He glanced at Wan Tianqing in the Heart Cultivation Pavilion. What if I kill this Wan Tianqing now? Wan Tianqing didn't care about this. He looked at the person in front of him who was the same as him and said with a smile, this is the moment in the past. If you want to capture it, then go out and fuse with it. Take out the carrier and capture it. Su Yu nodded. He understood. This wave is not big enough. After saying that, the two of them appeared above a river once again. Wan Tianqing smiled and said, this is meaningless. Capturing it won't be of much use. Su Yu asked curiously, can the manor head capture it? Yes. Then why not? Wan Tianqing said indifferently, why capture such a weak past? He was speechless. Su Yu asked curiously, then what kind of past does the manor head want to capture? Could it be when he was just born? Stop fooling around. Wan Tianqing smiled and said, we'll know after we take a look. After saying that, he continued walking forward. In the river, there were still waves, but the waves were not big. Some of them were not as big as before. As Wan Tianqing walked forward, he panted and said, in the past, the further you go, the harder it will be. In the future, it will be the same. Sometimes, what you can get is what matters. Some 9th-level sun-moon cultivators don't care and simply take whatever they can get. Once they get it, they will be considered to have earned it. From there, they will enter the quasi-invincible realm. Su Yu was speechless. So, you are not that kind of person, but the kind that you randomly pick. You are really amazing. Su Yu did not know much about this, but he felt that it was definitely not easy to traverse the long river of time and space. It must be quite difficult. Just as Wan Tianqing was bringing Su Yu to traverse the long river of time and space. Daming Manor. City Lord's Manor. Looking towards the north of the Daming dynasty, it was the direction of the Great Xia Manor. He frowned slightly. Beside him, Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "Father, what's wrong? You didn't feel it?" The Daming king turned his head to look at his son. Zhu Tiandao also looked in that direction for a while before saying, "No, what's wrong? Someone is walking the river of time and space." The Daming king looked for a while and hesitated for a while before saying, "Am I the only one who felt it? Did you not react at all?" "No. Your martial arts are not good enough, so you don't have a good grasp of the past and the future." As the Daming king spoke, he asked curiously, "Great Xia Mansion? Great Xia Mansion, who has reached this stage?" "Xia Longwu has returned." "No, could it be him? Myriad Sage? Maybe." The Darming king wasn't too sure, but Zhu Tiandao nodded and said, "It's very likely him." "Is he about to advance to quasi-invincible?" As he spoke, he smiled and said, "This isn't easy. Capturing the past and future is still fine, but finding the right time is too difficult." As he finished speaking, he spread out his palm, and a river as thin as urine appeared. Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "There aren't many people who want to open the long river of time and space like me." There was a hint of pride in his voice. "Father, I'm strong, right?" Very soon, the river disappeared. It could be considered a river for now. The Darming king nodded slightly. "You're not bad, but why do I feel that the river that has been opened looks very vast?" Zhu Tiandao asked in puzzlement, "What's wrong?" "Nothing." The Darming king still had some doubts in his voice, and he quickly said, "If it's the 10,000 heavenly saints, then is the 10,000 heavenly saints preparing to attain Tao? Entering quasi-invincibility and then taking the opportunity to attain Tao? I'm not sure about that. I think it might be a setup for the Southern Yuan matter." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2002. 2002 Chapter 443 I'm so scared. 5. Zhu Tiandao said with a smile, "Let's not talk about that guy anymore. That guy has been hiding for many years. I've long guessed that he has the strength of the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm." The Darming king nodded. "He and Yi Batian are good friends. Even though Yi Batian is about to attain the Tao, he often goes to seek guidance from the exploration realm. One Tianxing is more talented and powerful than I thought." Zhu Tiandao smiled. "I've heard of him. The Myriad Sage is the next Xia Chen." Later on, when Yi Batian rose up, no one said anything. Xia Chen was the first generation, the head of the Great Xia Civilization Academy. The Darming king did not say anything. He was still a little puzzled. The opening of the river of time and space did not cause much of a stir. The opening of the 9th level of the Sun-Moon meant that one was powerful. To be able to seize the past and the future meant that one was almost invincible. For example, Zhu Tiandao just that show, under normal circumstances, the Sun and Moon 9 heavy, is such a fish. Open the river of time and space, and get in there and fish it out. It doesn't have to be a person. You can grab it and fish it out. People go in, the opening of the river to be very large, very strong, and may not be able to hold for a while. It is easy to get lost in it. The normal 9th level Tao attainments of the Sun and Moon was like Zhu Tiandao before, opening a crack and grabbing a drop of river water. Whoever he caught would be the one he caught. The Daming king didn't care about this anymore. Forget it, the other party was opening the river of time and space. If he went to disturb them and the opening failed, he would definitely go all out. At this moment, Su Yu and Wan Tianxing continued to walk on the vast river. Soon, a huge wave appeared. Wan Tianxing stretched out his hand to grab it. In the next moment, Su Yu appeared in a familiar place, the heavenly battlefield. Bang! It was still a huge hand that covered the sky and slapped an extremely powerful demonic god to death. Su Yu was stunned for a moment and looked carefully. In the next moment, the Wan Tianxing from before appeared. No, it wasn't Wan Tianxing. It was an old man with a beard. Su Yu looked at 10,000 heavenly saints beside him. 10,000 heavenly saints said indifferently, "Disguise. It's a must-have when traveling. There's nothing to see here." In an instant, the two of them left the spot. Su Yu looked carefully. The 10,000 heavenly saints who had disappeared and the demonic god who had been killed. No matter how he looked at it, why did he feel that the demonic god had the strength of at least the late stage of the sun-moon realm, yet he had been killed with a single slap? Damn! Also, didn't they say that this person had not left the academy for a long time? How did he get there? How did he kill him? Su Yu was extremely surprised and extremely puzzled. He continued to follow Wan Tianxing. As they walked, another big wave came. Wan Tianxing continued to bring him down. Soon, Su Yu opened his eyes and saw two people. Just as he was about to take a closer look, with a bang, he was beaten until he was dizzy. In the next moment, Su Yu appeared on the river of time and space. Wan Tianxing was also beside him. Su Yu's head was in pain. He rubbed his head and looked at Wan Tianxing. Wan Tianxing said calmly, "Sometimes, it's easy to bump into things when you barge in. There are also cases of being attacked. Be careful." "No. Principal, I saw two people just now. It didn't seem like you were there, it might be a disguise, but I saw a person who seemed a little familiar." "Familiar? I know him. Maybe you know him too." "It's nothing." "Is that so?" Su Yu didn't ask further, but he was suspicious. He saw two people just now. One was Myriad Sage, and the other was, anyway, they were very familiar, but he didn't feel like he knew them. Was he really attacked, or was he beaten out by someone and not shown to him? This is weird. The Myriad Heaven Sage today is really weird. Also, why are you showing me all this? I'm actually not interested in your past. But this time, the Myriad Heaven Sage continued moving forward. After moving forward for a very long time, he didn't stop at all. At this moment, the Myriad Heaven Sage was panting heavily, as if he couldn't hold on any longer. Very soon, an incomparably huge wave appeared. It was a huge wave. Wan Tianxing smiled. "This is it, this is it. Take a good look. I don't know if it will help you, but it's good to take a look." Su Yu was stunned. At this moment, he suddenly fell into the wave. This time, he was jolted awake and opened his eyes. This was an extremely dark void. In the next moment, 4 suns appeared in the void. Boom! It was a silent scene, but Su Yu seemed to have heard a sound. In the void, 4 people were fighting. A golden armored god and an ancient expert holding a staff, the Heavenly Abyss clan. Su Yu recognized them. That ancient expert holding a staff seemed to be the Heavenly Abyss clan. Before he had the time to look closely, 2 other figures appeared in the void. One of them was Yi Badian. Su Yu was shocked. Yi Badian. He had seen this person's portrait before. He had seen it in the academy, and it was incomparably tyrannical. It was indeed tyrannical, and it wielded a huge axe as it slashed towards that god. As for the other person, Su Yu took a closer look. He was incomparably mysterious, and his face was covered. All of this happened very quickly. A huge battle erupted instantly. The 4 experts fought in the endless void, and the sky and earth shattered. In the blink of an eye, the void shattered from the killing. It was as if a small world had been destroyed by them in an instant. Su Yu was dazzled by what he saw. Time passed. After a while, it was as if a long time had passed. A brilliant sun appeared. Yi Batian slashed down with his axe, directly splitting the god into two halves. At the same time, the battle between the mysterious person and the Heavenly Abyss race expert had actually suppressed the Heavenly Abyss race expert. Su Yu was shocked. Something wasn't right. Yi Batian had died in this battle, but this was different. Just as he was thinking, two hands suddenly stretched out from the endless void. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2003. 2003 Chapter 443 I'm so scared. 6. One charged towards Yi Batian, and the other towards the mysterious man. In an instant, with a rumbling sound, the mysterious man was pincer-attacked from both front and back. His body was smashed into pieces, and he instantly disappeared from his original spot. In the next moment, the Heavenly Abyss tribe expert struck out with his staff towards Yi Batian. The three of them joined hands, and in an instant, a huge rumbling sound could be heard. Su Yu did not hear it, but he could feel. Bang! Yi Batian was smashed into pieces. After a while, a long blade tore through the endless void, and an incomparably powerful expert charged over. That was the Great Xia Emperor. Once the Great Xia Emperor arrived, everything disappeared, leaving behind only a pile of remains in the void. Su Yu suddenly opened his eyes. Opening his eyes again, he had left the long river of time and space. As for Su Yu, his eyes were dull as he looked at Wan Tianxing, who had his back facing him. He swallowed his saliva. This was Wan Tianxing's past. This was his past. I don't see Wan Tianxing. Then where is Wan Tianxing? F***ck. Please don't tell me that the mysterious person is you. Wan Tianxing didn't say much, he said indifferently, see? Traitors really exist. It's not one, it's two. They were attacked by two people. One of them might be human, and the other one might be from the 10,000 clans. They pretended to fight and attacked Yi Batian at the same time. Yi Batian wasn't arrogant or ostentatious. He knew that he was in danger, so his friends protected him. However, his friends couldn't protect him, so Yi Batian died. Actually, Yi Batian could have succeeded. Su Yu gulped. That. I think. They can kill two invincible ones. Yes, no one interferes. They can kill them. But, that. Su Yu didn't know what to say. At this moment, his brain was full of mush. Wan Tianxing said faintly, I'm letting you see this just to tell you that Yi Batian is still missing something. Remember this scene and look carefully. You might not understand it today, but it's okay. Keep watching. You'll remember it. When your strength increases, you'll see different things again. Remember, Yi Batian can succeed, but I think his physical body can succeed. His Tao of divine inscriptions shows no signs of succeeding in attaining Tao. Su Yu nodded in a daze. He was muddle-headed. I know. Primordial spirit aperture, split young aperture, Yin aperture, primordial aperture open 360, divine aperture open 360. Perhaps there's something else that needs to cooperate in order to attain Tao. Su Yu said his own judgment, and Wan Tianxing said thoughtfully, maybe, you can try. In addition, the divine inscriptions of other races might also have an effect. Yes. Get out. That mysterious person died. Wan Tianxing said indifferently, talk about life and death, he wasn't himself, he was just a three-generation body. F***cku. Su Yu was shocked. A three-generation body had beaten the invincible Heavenly Abyss clan until he was constantly suppressed. Today, he had really learned a lot. A Yi Batian had killed a person with an axe. A mysterious person was just a three-generation body of an expert. He had beaten the invincible Heavenly Abyss clan until he almost died. In the end, the three experts worked together to kill Yi Badian. Of course, they also killed the three-generation body of the mysterious person. Whose third generation? He didn't ask, but Su Yu had actually guessed it. He gulped. That. Principal, I'm leaving. You won't kill me to silence me, right? I'm so scared. Why are you showing me this? I'm so scared. Wan Tianxing said faintly, kill me to silence me. If you don't leave now, I'll kill you to silence you. With a whoosh, Su Yu ran away. I've wanted to run for a long time. If you don't say anything, I won't dare to run. At this moment, he was so scared. At this moment, the little hairy ball in his mind was also scared. It lay on top of the divine text and licked it crazily. This ball was also scared. I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, eat a divine text. And at this moment, in a certain realm, on the heaven origin fruit tree, a big hairy ball opened his eyes and saw something. Next to him, small bubbles appeared. With some doubt, he muttered, one of the three-generation bodies has been killed. What a powerful future body, are you going to capture it again? As he thought, the big hairy ball fell asleep. What does it have to do with me? If I continue to sleep, I might be dreaming again. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2004. 2004 Chapter 444 Teacher-Disciple Reunion 1. After exiting the Heart Cultivation Pavilion, Su Yu's forehead was covered in sweat. The scene just now was like a dream. What did he see? He saw that Wan Tianxing had actually participated in the battle back then. He saw that Wan Tianxing and Yi Badian had joined forces and almost killed two unrivaled experts. In the end, two unrivaled experts secretly attacked and destroyed Wan Tianxing's three incarnations. They had killed Yi Badian. Were they unrivaled? Perhaps not. Wan Tianxing and Yi Badian might only be quasi-unrivaled, but they were not ordinary quasi-unrivaled experts. They were terrifying people. The key point, why was Old Wan showing me this? Su Yu grimaced. Are you trying to show off to me? No. At this moment, Su Yu was in a daze. I understand. He vaguely understood something. Old Wan was teaching him. Yes, teaching him. He's teaching me not to capture the past first, but to capture the future body, then, when the future body explodes, capture the past body. He vaguely seemed to understand something. In the midst of shock. That's right. When you capture the future body, your combat strength might be invincible, but if you haven't captured the past body, can you capture the strength when your future body explodes? For example, Wan Tianxing could capture the scene from 51 years ago as his past body. Then he would be very powerful. Su Yu swallowed his saliva. In that case, everyone could do it. The prerequisite was that you capture your future body first. Of course, he didn't know the difficulty, but it must be very difficult. Lao Wan taught me this. Su Yu muttered. Perhaps. As for the rest, Su Yu didn't want to think about it anymore. He only knew that everyone in the world had underestimated Wan Tianxing. Of course, some people might know that the heavily injured invincible of the Heavenly Abyss clan wasn't dead. He might have been injured by Wan Tianxing. What a terrifying fellow. That person might know something. Of course, Wan Tianxing's identity might not have been exposed. However, the two invincible experts who had attacked that day might also know that one of them wasn't dead. Only one of his three incarnations had died. Su Yu exhaled. Could they have guessed that it was the 10,000 heavenly saints? They weren't sure. Back then, the 10,000 heavenly saints was only at the peak of the mountain and sea realm. Perhaps no one would have thought of him. Such a powerful three incarnations that could kill an unrivaled existence. Perhaps it was an incomparably powerful 3 incarnations, such as the great Xia emperors. Perhaps they thought that they had killed the 3 incarnations of the great Xia emperor. Su Yu did not want to think about these anymore. He was in a trance. Lao Wan was so powerful, so he had been dormant for so many years. His goal was not small. Su Yu had consulted the stone sculpture before. The 3-generation body could be recovered. Of course, the past body was the hardest to recover. If the past body was present, then there was the past, and the future. Lao Wan had a high probability of dying in the future body. In that case, it was possible that he had recovered the future body. Terrifying. He didn't capture his past body. Could it be that he couldn't, or was it that he was afraid that after capturing it, he would enter the invincible realm? Tao manifestation. That would cause a huge commotion. Su Yu still didn't know much about this realm. He didn't know if after capturing the past and future, he would automatically become one and become invincible in Tao manifestation, or if he needed to capture it first and then think of a way to become one with Tao. The two were still somewhat different. The former meant that as long as he captured the 3 incarnations, he would instantly become invincible. The latter meant that he might still need to slowly close his aperture, just like how he closed his aperture. That would require a lot of time. Capture the future body in the past. Su Yu's words were a little awkward, but he knew the general meaning. Capture the future body first, let the future body merge with it, and then the future would become the past. What the hell? Was this even possible? Su Yu had never thought about this before. This time, Wan Tianxing had opened his eyes. Just as Su Yu was mumbling, Wan Tianxing was a little sad in the heart cultivation pavilion. He muttered, "I'm not asking you to capture the future in the past. I want to tell you that even such a powerful me has to go into hibernation. You want it too. I want to tell you that there's a problem with Yi Beishan's Tao attainment. Do you understand? Idiot. Why is your comprehension ability so outstanding? My goal isn't for you to capture the invincible body in the past. I'm so angry. Idiot. Do you think you can do it? *T. I'm a little helpless. Forget it, you can interpret it however you want. When you're stronger, you'll understand. You'll understand how shocking the scenes I've shown you today are, and how powerful I am. Forget it, forget it. Those who are ignorant are fearless. Playing the zither to a cow. This fellow has also witnessed the river of time this time and learned how to capture the 3 incarnations. Of course, it's Su Yu's fault for not learning. You can't blame me for this. At the very least, this fellow has reached the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm and knows how to verify Tao and how to strengthen himself. He has walked through the river of time and knows the dangers within. He also knows what type of 3 incarnations to capture. This can be considered my final gift. Wan Tianxing smiled and lay down on the chair. Humming an unknown tune, the old rattan chair creaked. At this moment, Su Yu was still thinking about the past and the future. If I fuse with the future body in the past, will my future be stronger? Should I fuse with a future body in the past and the future? In his mind, little Harry Ball felt dizzy. It was so complicated. Su Yu didn't think it was complicated, but he was thinking. If he could only merge with one past body and one future body, it wouldn't be a big deal. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2005. 2005 Chapter 444 Teacher-Disciple Gathering 2. If it doesn't work, I'll blow up one of my weaker 3 incarnations. Continuously strengthen and then, continuously integrate into it. TSK. Su Yu was thinking of a question. Then, is my past body constantly becoming stronger? Then, can I continuously blow up my past body and then integrate into a new past body and then become stronger? I seem to have thought of a way to become invincible. Could it be that everyone was doing the same thing? Continuously strengthening the past and future. After all, when the three incarnations merged together, each time they would be in their strongest state. And each time, they would be able to capture the last second of Suyu. Suyu circled around and made himself dizzy. Wouldn't that be endlessly becoming stronger? The prerequisite was that he would still be alive after destroying the three incarnations so many times. Otherwise, he would blow himself up. That's not right. I'm the one with a soaring body and a strong willpower. Why am I considering this? Suyu cursed in his heart. Lao Wan had led me astray. There are two invincible figures. One of them might be a human and the other a foreigner. Both of them are enemies. I'm not afraid of this. I'm just afraid. Both of them are humans. That would be troublesome. Suyu frowned. This time, he knew clearly that there really was a traitor. Of course, he couldn't rule out the possibility that both of them were undefeatable. But at least he knew that Yi Badian had been ambushed, and so had Lao Wan. Yi Badian wasn't as arrogant and rampant as the rumors said. He was very aggressive. He had found his good friend to protect him. His good friend was very powerful, and with him, two undefeatable figures wouldn't be a problem. Perhaps, he wanted to fish for two invincibles and get rid of them. In the end, he played too big. This time, 4 invincibles came. 2 of them were on the surface and 2 of them were in the dark. Even so, one of them was killed by them and one of them was seriously injured. This was unbelievable. So powerful. Suyu sighed. It turned out that quasi-invincibility could also kill invincibles. There was more than one who could do it. Future body. Many thoughts flashed through his mind. He couldn't think about it anymore. The more he thought about it, the more terrifying it became. The key point was that Lao Wan had been hiding for so many years. I'm afraid his appetite is not small. Suyu secretly speculated. Lao Wan had been dormant for so many years. Now that he had shown himself, he even brought him to the river of time. Was he prepared to go all out and fight? After walking out from the Wan Tianxing side, Suyu didn't wander around anymore. He returned to his residence. Suyu felt that his own strength was insignificant. In front of the Wan Tianxing, he was just a piece of trash. This time, he had confirmed the Wan Tianxing's strength. He was terrifyingly powerful. Even so, he had to go into hiding. Looks like I can't just drift around. Up until now, I've only cast 57. I've cast 58 as fast as I can. Finish casting 72 as soon as possible. Grandmaster is at the Sun-Moon realm, but he might only be at the first level of the Sun-Moon realm. He's too weak. Perhaps the Sun-Moon mystic yellow liquid can increase his strength. As for teacher, he's about to reach Ling Yun. I don't know if he has cultivated the 5 elements cultivation technique I gave him. If he hasn't cultivated it, it'll be difficult to reach the 9th level of Ling Yun. If he cultivates it, he'll lack a large amount of willpower. It's best to cultivate it with the Sun-Moon Divine Prose. Many thoughts rose in his mind. This time, he was here for revenge. As for who he was here for, to be honest, Suyu didn't really sympathize with Yi Badian. He was here for his teacher, Lu Wenyan, Hong Tan, and the others. As for Suyu himself, he didn't have any grudges against them. Those who harmed me. They were all killed by me. I have to show my cards to teacher. Since Old Wan is here, there's nothing for me to be afraid of. Even an invincible expert like him might not be able to cause trouble. Thinking of this, Suyu cultivated for a while to suppress the aura of death. Soon, his figure flashed and disappeared from the spot. At the Wen Tan Research Center. Hong Tan and Bai Feng were busy as usual. The master and disciple pair were very busy. Wuxia was there too. She didn't disturb them and helped them clean up. Soon, she left with a worried look on her face. Her teacher had disappeared. Perhaps, he was still alive, but perhaps he would soon become a traitor in the human realm. After Wuxia left, Hong Tan looked up and sighed softly as he saw her back. Bai Feng also looked up and said helplessly, "Senior brother left so quickly. Even if he didn't contact anyone, he could have contacted us. This is great, he didn't even contact us." As he said that, he added, "My poor disciple is now waiting to die in the celestial battlefield. Otherwise, it would be better to matchmake him and Jia Jia. You." Hong Tan was speechless. "Stop thinking about these useless things. You should come up with the mountain and sea splitting method as soon as possible. Up till now, you can only split it into 9 levels of Ling Yun. How do you do things? If you reach Ling Yun, your help will be limited. Only splitting the mountains, seas, sun, and moon is the true godly skill." Bai Feng said helplessly, "I still lack some experimental materials. I've already said that you're the sun and moon, and I'm the sky. It's already good enough to be able to create Ling Yun. If senior brother is here, he's the mountains and seas, and I can use him as a guinea pig. Now that I don't have a guinea pig, how do I do it?" The others were worried. "It's fine. Just grab a few mountains and seas and do some research. There are plenty of mountains and seas in the academy now. Can you capture them?" Bai Feng said slyly, "Why don't you go capture a few?" Scram. Hong Tan cursed and said unhappily, "How many people are watching me? Can I make a move?" After saying that, he stroked his chin and said, "Didn't you say that you've hooked up with the Heaven Hunting Pavilion? Why don't you let them try and capture a few of them?" You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2006. 2006 Chapter 444, Master-Disciple Reunion 3. Are you alright? I'm fine, it's best to capture a few of them, Hong Tan said darkly, kill those who don't listen to us. If we kill them, the forces behind them will have to send more people, the ones that are getting stronger and stronger. It's best to infuriate them, the kind that will last for dozens of days. Bai Feng's eyes flickered as he nodded. He chuckled and said, understood, let them bite the dog. However, in the great Xia manner, it wouldn't be good if they were killed. That's true, we'll see. As Hong Tan spoke, his eyes flickered as he looked around. He shouted, who is it? He shouted, but there was no movement. Hong Tan's eyes flickered as he quickly grabbed at Bai Feng. At this moment, a hand appeared behind Bai Feng, and it grabbed towards Bai Feng's head. You're courting death. Hong Tan shouted in a low voice as he slapped out with his palm, sending Bai Feng flying. A divine symbol erupted, and in the next moment, a huge sword and a huge shield appeared. Boom! The person in the dark punched out. His punch caused the shield to crack. Hong Tan's expression changed, and Bai Feng was sent flying by his palm. He flew onto the wall and slid down, feeling dizzy. The mysterious man punched Hong Tan's shield until it cracked. In the next moment, his figure flashed and grabbed Bai Feng. He lifted him up and sneered, surrender now. Hong Tan's expression changed. Bai Feng's face was ashen. Hong Tan gritted his teeth and said, impossible, how did you get in? Impossible. He had set up countless arrays in the research institute. The person in front of him was from the Heaven Hunting Pavilion. The mysterious person sneered, how can such a small trick me, Xianjiu? Xianjiu. Hong Tan knew who the other party was. He gnashed his teeth and said, it's you, the high-ranking member of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion who appeared in Nanyuan. That's right, I'm the head of the branch of the Great Xia Mansion. Hong Tan's face was cold. The high-ranking member of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion. He did not expect the other party to be so bold as to really infiltrate the great Xia mansion and even infiltrate his own research institute. This was impossible. What about the 10,000 heavenly saints? Did he not know? What do you want? Hong Tan was cold. Su Yu sneered and said, if you don't want anything, don't chase me. I only want Bai Feng. I see that his skin is tender and tender. I want to capture him and sell him for money. Silence. In an instant, silence. Bai Feng, who was captured, was stunned for a moment and blinked his eyes. Infiltrating the research institute might not necessarily be infiltrating. It might be directly entering. And in this research institute, there were only 5 people who could directly enter. Besides the 3 of them who were inside, there were 2 others. One was Su Yu, and the other was Qin Yong. This strength. In the next moment, Bai Feng suddenly scolded, "Senior brother, you've gone too far. You can't play like this." Hong Tan was also stunned and asked suspiciously, "Little Yong?" It wasn't impossible to say that Qin Yong had this strength. With the strength of the Sun-Moon realm, Qin Yong had stepped into the 9th layer of the mountain and sea realm back then. However, this mysterious person had a powerful physical body. Little Yong was a civilized master. Was it Qin Yong? Hong Tan was not too sure. As for Bai Feng, he could not help but kick Su Yu and said angrily, "Senior brother, do you know how scary it is? I was scared to death. Luckily it was you. If that kid Su Yu saw this, I would have even wanted to commit suicide." Bai Feng was filled with resentment. Luckily, it was his senior brother. If this was Su Yu, he did not dare to imagine it. It was too scary. Of course, Su Yu was still his city lord. Now, the only one who could sneak in silently was his senior brother. He didn't expect that his senior brother would actually become a boss in the heaven hunting pavilion. How amazing! As he spoke, he pounded on Su Yu's chest and said unhappily, "Senior brother, stop playing. Why are you still wearing the mask? Take it off. Master misses you, and Jia misses you too." Su Yu looked at him in a daze. "Teacher, I didn't say that I'm a senior uncle. How did you know that I'm a senior uncle? And you're still punching my chest. You are such a sissy." On the other hand, Hong Tan frowned slightly. He felt that something was amiss. Was it Xiao Yong? If not, Bai Feng had already escaped and even kicked him. If he wasn't one of them, how could he be like this? Little. He was just about to call out when his mouth opened wide and quickly retracted. He quickly said, "Little you, he." Meanwhile, Bai Feng was still talking when he looked up and suddenly, he was completely stunned. He was completely stunned. His mouth was so wide that it was frightening. After a long while, he said dryly, "That, senior brother, stop fooling around." His eyes must have gone blurry. As for Su Yu, he laughed dryly and said, "Master, Grandmaster, it was just a joke. Don't take it seriously. I didn't use my full strength just now. It was just a joke to test everyone's vigilance." Bang! A fist smashed down on his head. Bai Feng was in so much pain that he wanted to cry. Hong Tan had wanted to advise him, but when he heard a certain someone say, "I didn't use my full strength just now," he instantly swallowed his words. Beat him. Beat him fiercely. Beat him to death. What the hell, what did he mean? Didn't use his full strength? He broke my turtle shell with one punch, and you said you didn't use your full strength? So you're saying that if you use your full strength, you can kill me with one punch? Bai Feng, on the other hand, gave Su Yu a punch and then another punch. Su Yu smiled embarrassedly, while Bai Feng was in so much pain that he wanted to cry. It hurt so much. F***ck. Damn it. Why am I in so much pain when I hit you? Xianzhou. Bai Feng stopped fighting. He grabbed Su Yu's collar and roared, "Xianjiu, is it? That, cough cough. You bastard, you actually sneaked in to play with your grandmaster and your teacher. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories." Chapter 2007. 2007 Chapter 444 Teacher-Student Reunion 4. Do you still have any respect for seniority? Bai Feng roared once more, "You still hit me." "No, teacher, I didn't hit you. It was Grand Teacher who slapped you and sent you flying. I only helped you up. If you don't believe me, can you think about it?" Bai Feng thought for a moment and cursed inwardly. It seemed like it. It was my teacher who slapped me and sent me flying. Then, this brat grabbed me and helped me up. At this moment, he couldn't calm down. He could only roar to cover everything. Holy shit. It's him. How can he be so strong? In front of him, it seemed like I could really be killed with a slap. I'm so angry. I refuse to accept this. It's so embarrassing. Hong Tan, who was at the side, also had a complicated expression on his face. With a strange look in his eyes, he said without batting an eyelid, "Xiao Feng, you can't use such a method to teach your disciple a lesson. It's too unfriendly. Don't use your sword to slash him. His physical body is very strong." As soon as he finished speaking, a huge sword appeared beside Bai Feng. It was his. "Slash him. Slash him to death. He's not a human. In the middle of the night, he was playing such a joke with your grandmaster and your master. He was almost scared to death. I thought I was finished this time. Damn it, it turned out to be this little bastard. Bai Feng's dragon-slaying sword might not be able to cut him, so my sword will cut him." Bai Feng casually picked up the sword and turned his head to look at his master. Speechless, he casually threw the sword away. "All right, master, if you want to beat him yourself. I won't do it." Hong Tan glared at him. Did those words mean that he was that kind of person? Su Yu, on the other hand, forced a smile and said, "Please calm down, Grandmaster. Grandmaster is very powerful. He just gave me a palm strike, and the wind from the palm strike caused me to suffer internal injuries." "Shut up." The master and disciple shouted at the same time. Hong Tan couldn't hold it in any longer. Bai Feng also said in a bad mood, "Shut up, you bastard. You actually dared to tease your grandmaster. Although your grandmaster can't beat you, he still tried his best." After saying that, his tone changed, he sighed and said, "The disciple that I taught. Sigh, deceiving the master and destroying the ancestor. Forget it, forget it. Next time, don't be rude to your grand teacher. You were taught by me. Those who don't know better will think that I'm deceiving the master and destroying the ancestor. I instructed you to do it." The meaning behind his words was the same. You were taught by me. My disciple is really awesome. Hong Tan rolled his eyes. I can't save you. He took a deep breath and suppressed the doubt and surprise in his heart. He looked at Su Yu for a long time before Hong Tan said, "Is the rumor false?" Su Yu said hesitantly, "What rumor?" "I killed dozens of suns and moons, but I still got the boss of the stone sculpture to help me blow up Invincible. Or I was ranked first on the heaven roll, or something else. I don't know if the first part is true, but I don't know the rest." Silence. Bai Feng really wanted to beat him up once more. Are you asking him out of curiosity? No, you're showing off. What's there to show off about? Bai Feng harumphed. Su Yu grinned foolishly, his smile brilliant. It was as if he had returned to the past. I just like to pretend for a moment. Why? I want to see teacher's shocked expression, how about it? Ha ha ha. I'm in such a good mood. He felt as though he had returned to the past. Bai Feng glanced at him and smiled as well. His smile was so bitter that he felt like crying. "You fool, are you all right?" I'm fine, I'm fine." "Very good. What are you trying to show off on the battlefield of the heavens? Now, the entire world wants to kill you. Are you happy?" "No, I just can't stand them. I'm not afraid of them." Suyu smiled foolishly and said, they bullied me because I have more divine literature. Sooner or later, I'll kill them one by one. Don't worry, teacher. I'm really going all out now. I can fight even in the middle stage of the Sun-Moon realm. Sooner or later, I'll kill all of our enemies. Feeling stifled, he didn't forget to show off at this time. Bai Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Hong Tan also wanted to cry, but he had no tears. Enough. You've been provoked enough. You can do it. You're almost done. Where's Jia Jia? Hong Tan suddenly thought of something. Suyu smiled foolishly and said, I was afraid that senior sister would be too excited when she saw me, so I conveniently trapped her. Senior sister still doesn't know about the illusion. You brat. He really had the ability. At this moment, the 3 generations of disciples looked at each other. For a moment, they were filled with complicated feelings. First, Hong Tan had not returned to the heavenly battlefield for a long time. Then, Bai Feng was punished to go to the vanguard camp. Then, Suyu was forced to leave the Great Xia Manor. After that, there was an unceasing storm. And now, the 3 of them were finally standing together again. Things have changed, but people have changed. Bai Feng was the most complicated. He looked at Suyu and felt a little emotional and helpless. How did you become so strong? My talent is strong. Suyu smiled foolishly and said, it's all thanks to teacher. Back then, he discovered my talent and recognized a talent with his sharp eyes. F***CKU. I want to curse you to death. Scram. If I had known that you were going to hit me like this, I would not have taken you in. Bai Feng secretly ridiculed him. Very soon, he frowned and asked, is it really Xianjiu or is it fake? It's true. Suyu chuckled and said, I'm not lying. I'm now the head of the heaven hunting pavilion in the Great Xia Manor. I'm in charge of the 3 white-masked men. The remaining manpower hasn't arrived yet. So, you're the one who gave the order to protect my cousin. Bai Feng was relieved. So that was the case. Suyu laughed dryly and shouted, brother. How dare you? Bai Feng cursed and then his face froze. He really froze. He opened his mouth again and looked at Suyu. After a while, he said angrily, You're pretending. Cough cough cough, that is to enter the academy with an open and above-board identity. I'll kill you. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2008. 2008 Chapter 444 Teacher-Student Reunion asks for a subscription, 5. Bai Feng has completely gone mad, I'm going to die. Damn it, Xianjiu is you, Bai Junxing is you, the lurker is you. So you think I'm a fool? I won't be satisfied if I don't kill you. The teacher-student duo chased around the laboratory for a while. Hong Tan watched from the side, watching with some helplessness, some laughter, and some relief. Suyu was still alive. He was alive and well. He had returned. It was not as everyone had imagined. He was about to die. He had returned. He had returned in an unexpected manner and identity. He was from the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, Mystic 9, Sun-Moon Strength. At this moment, Hong Tan really had too many feelings and helplessness. Was his strength so strong? Very quickly, he suddenly said, stop fighting. Suyu, let me ask you. Does anyone else know that you have returned? Yes, the Darming King, Manor Head Zhu, and Manor Head Wan all knew. I see. Hong Tan was relieved. I knew it. In the academy, there was actually no movement from Myriad Sage. It shouldn't be. So he knew. He cursed inwardly. That old ghost might have been secretly laughing at us just now. He's not a thing. Even if I gave him a slight reminder, it wouldn't be to such an extent. How embarrassing. His own grand disciple had almost destroyed his tortoise shell with a single punch. Sigh. Meanwhile, Bai Feng had kicked Suyu a few more times, causing his own feet to hurt. Only then did he harumph. Alright, stop pretending to be a grandson. You bastard. You're just trying to make a fool of yourself this time, right? No. Suyu denied it and laughed heartily. Teacher, I was afraid that you guys would be too excited to see me. Let's change the method and make you guys happy. Happy? Very happy. He was so happy that he wanted to self-destruct just now. Bai Feng cursed again. However, not to mention, the helplessness and melancholy from the reunion after such a long time had all dissipated. Or rather, there wasn't any at all. This kid was still alive and kicking. He could even beat his grandmaster back with one punch. What was there to worry about? Very soon, the few of them quieted down. Suyu smiled and said, "Do you want to call senior sister over? I'll tell you guys about what I saw this time. It's really interesting. The heavenly battlefield is really fun." This was the first guy who said that the heavenly battlefield was fun. Hong Tan thought for a moment and nodded. Go and call her over. Your senior sister has been in a bad mood ever since your martial uncle left. Seeing that you're back, she's probably in a better mood. That's fine. A few minutes later, Suyu and Wuxia arrived. At this moment, Wuxia's face was filled with joy and disbelief. Her junior brother had returned. Wuxia still liked this junior brother very much. When her junior brother was around, no one dared to bully her. Her master and uncle master were also very happy. In the end, when her junior brother left, everything changed. Now that her junior brother had returned, Wuxia's depressed mood instantly became better. As for Suyu, he also quickly began to tell everyone about everything about himself. Starting from when he went to Daming Manor, he talked about how he killed those suns and moons, how he violently beat up Shan Xiong, and how he disguised himself as Cui Lang. Especially the battle at Starfall Mountain, he talked about everything. How he killed Zhou Pingsheng. How he killed those fellows from the single divine script department one by one. Hearing this, Wu Jia and Bai Feng were extremely excited. Hong Tan, on the other hand, was a little complicated. After all, they had been colleagues for many years. Soon, Suyu talked about the heavenly battlefield. Wow, junior brother, you got on the heaven roll as soon as you went. Is the heaven roll very powerful? Didn't you kill that Madonna? Is the ancient city so fun? Are the stone sculptures cute? Hong Tan and Bai Feng were speechless. F***CKU. In Suyu's words, the stone sculptures seemed very cute, but both of them knew that they were invincible. Invincible in the ancient times. An existence that could destroy the Demon King with one punch, an existence that could almost kill four invincible existences, and an existence that could make the half-emperor of the demon race appear in person. You call such an existence cute? Especially when it came to the undead sovereign, that was an existence that everyone feared. In Suyu's words, it was as if he had become the head of his family's guards, and he would drag them out whenever he had nothing to do. The incomparably dangerous heavenly battlefield had become a playground in Suyu's words, and everything was fun. Bai Feng had no choice but to interrupt, Jia, don't believe him. Otherwise, if you go, you'll be easily misled. Wu Jia said nonchalantly, Martial uncle, of course I know this. Everyone is afraid, but junior brother isn't. That's because junior brother is powerful, and I'm not stupid. Junior brother thinks it's cute, and that's why I think it's cute. He rolled his eyes at Baifeng. Martial uncle looked so silly. Will I take it seriously? Definitely not. Baifeng's heart was tired. Woman, the next time I talk to a woman, I'll break my own legs. Hong Tan didn't say anything. In fact, he could hear the danger and the difficulty. Images had already appeared in his mind. A narrow escape. Time and time again, relying on Su Yu's strength, luck, intelligence, and talent, he had escaped death many times. Otherwise, he would have died a long time ago. Today, he was still able to say these things to them so easily. At this moment, Hong Tan felt a little more pity. He was only 19 years old. He didn't dare to believe, nor did he dare to imagine, that Su Yu hadn't broken down yet and was so active. If it were him, he would have broken down a long time ago. When his master died, he almost broke down. At that time, he didn't experience as much suffering as Su Yu did. In Su Yu's words, all suffering was fun. His enemies were stupid and the sculptures were dumb and cute. However, only through experience could he know how terrifying it was. Baifeng and Hong Tan looked at each other with helplessness. The things that Su Yu had encountered were already unimaginable to them. They couldn't help Su Yu at all. At this moment, their emotions were extremely complicated. Su Yu, on the other hand, was still smiling brightly. He told his senior sister everything and didn't hide it. He said that he was almost scared to death. He said that Demon King Lad had destroyed the City Lord's mansion with one palm and was so scared that he didn't dare to return to the City Lord's mansion for a few days. He said how he managed to become a big shot in the heaven hunting pavilion. All of this was very heartwarming. It was heartwarming, but it was also cruel and cold-blooded. Dozens of suns and moons had died. In Su Yu's description, it was just a trivial matter. He was mostly talking about his freedom in the heavenly battlefield. P.S. I was delayed by the internet at night. I'm sorry. I'll start with a chapter of water as a token of respect. We'll continue tomorrow.